Okay, it is 6:30. We'll call the November 13th, 2018 Citizens Meeting to order. Okay, first is the approval of the minutes from October 9th. Do we have a chance to read those? Review them?
Motion to approve the October 9th minutes.
I second it. Any discussion, corrections? Colin?
Yes.
Kit?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Okay, next approval of the October 17th minutes. Special meeting minutes, I guess.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from October 17th.
Any discussion on that? Colin?
Yes. Yes.
Mike?
Aye.
No? Yes. Okay, financials?
I move to approve the financials.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the financials? Colin?
Yes.
Kit?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Okay, Brad Reynolds, the rental agreement with the school, Memorial Home. Yeah, come on up. Have a chair, be comfortable. Hey, Rainey, I'll leave that in your hands.
Sure. So, we drafted a lease, just because the school is using the Memorial Hall, and thought they should have some kind of documentation in place just for that relationship that's going on with that. So, Lindell drafted this lease. After our discussion from our last meeting, we made a couple changes to it, and I've visited with Brad about it. And I don't think you had any changes, Brad, other than the 3 mills as far as the coverage for the liability.
Where our current liability limit is $3 million per incident, or per individual, I guess it is. And I did check; we can't change that in the middle of our insurance. We could change it on renewal, but we can't do it right now. And it's your building, so I think whatever it is that you want us to do, we'll do. I know that most schools right now are 3 or 2, but I mean, I don't think this is a deal breaker for us. So, and the insurance, the other part of the insurance is. You have to list you as an additionally insured party, which we do, when people use our school buses, and we do the same thing. I've got to get that cost, but I'm not exactly sure what that'll be. I doubt that that's going to be a big issue for us either, but beyond that, I don't really see any concerns unless I find something out tomorrow that I don't know today. But
Yeah, and we just raised ours, right? I mean, yeah, so.
yeah, I think we raised ours 2 years ago. So in fact, they may have suggested more at the time, but I think it's what agrees. So.
Yeah, I don't see it as a deal breaker. So you're fine with the agreement, right?
I am, yeah. We have it on the agenda for tonight, and the board's seen this. They've all got a copy of this. I gave a heads up on it the last 3 meetings, so I don't think there's going to be any concerns at this point. We'll find out tonight.
So, I guess we need a motion to approve this, pending their approval, right? So I will make that motion. So we approve. Okay. Any questions on that from anyone? Okay, Colin?
Yes.
Good.
Aye.
Mike? Aye. No.
Aye.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
but-
you moving me up on the agenda.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was coming down there, I don't know if you got a bus going or whatever, but by the barn, the lights are all on the bus as I was coming down here.
On a bus?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Outside, it's sitting outside there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna move the Memorial Hall kitchen, project up. So you guys wanna up the table?
I don't know. Everybody's got these are,
They're pretty sure they've got a copy of it.
these are bigger ones.
They got the bigger one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got the bigger one.
And then everybody's
Unless
got,
somebody in the audience would like to copy.
everybody got one
They
of
would
these.
like a copy of the reader.
You got extras? Yeah. Yeah, that's the big one.
You have that?
Yep. This one?
Okay.
It's kind of hard to read, but. Another one. This one. Oh, you know what, yours is just kind of
Yeah.
blurred, just like mine.
Mhm.
Okay, this one.
This one Terry printed.
Okay,
So,
let's go.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of been in the committee here, planning, because originally it started out as remodeling the basement kitchen. Now it's making the full kitchen up on the main floor. And this is kind of a rough plan of how it would look, with dishwasher and your sinks and your prep tables, ovens, and different things. But probably one of the biggest expenses we have, well, two of the biggest expenses is the equipment and electrical. But if we're working on different things right now, the Legion has already pledged $10,000 to go towards the cost. We're starting a gun raffle, and if everything goes good there, we should get $18,000 off of that for the kitchen. We've got this shows on this kind of this here breakdown here. It kind of basically where we're planning on getting some of the money to help. We're working on it right now. If it goes ahead, one of the first things we would do is build this one wall here and move everything in here, table storage, and then open this up. And
If I can interrupt for just a second, does everybody know where this is at in the hall? Let's start there. It's against the east wall. Okay, so everybody's familiar with kind of where it's
it's
at.
basically where the little kind of snack bar is now,
It's where the kitchen is now.
except it'll go all the way to the very end of the building.
And then where we actually store the tables now will be moved to the middle of the hall. That's where the table storage is going to be. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay. Back in this one little corner here will be the new electrical. For the simple fact that your power is outside and they have to put in a whole new kind of,
Yep, a whole new feeder coming in, that would have to be done if you're going to do any upgrading on the building for anything at any time. This is what needs to be done, is a new feeder needs to be put in. And if we were to restore the kitchen downstairs, the electrical is a huge issue anyway. So what we want to do is bring a direct line in from the power line that's out there already and bring it to that back wall, and then from there spread out to the other two older places that have feeders to it, and essentially kind of update the electrical system. It's something that sooner or later you're going to have to fight a vote on. If not this time, next time, you know.
but as we've kind of just drawn everything kind of in here with back the ovens, the grills, have to have an exhaust hood over that. Then you have your, kind of a prep sink here. And then, here you got your fridge and your cooler. And then here's storage right now, or future use. And then your dishwasher will be across the end, and then with a little hand sink. And then your about a 8-foot or so service window, and then the back sink there. All this equipment is roughly $50,000. That's new price. We're looking at a couple restaurants that have closed to see if we can get the equipment a lot cheaper, because usually it's about a third of the price. So we're checking into that. See what else we got on here. Like I say, we're starting a gun raffle to bring in $18,000. We also have a bid here on the plumbing, which was $13,000. I think that was on the list too.
The flooring.
Anything else?
What was the flooring on the?
That's on.
Yeah,
That's on there.
Yeah.
Flooring, walls,
Yep. I think you guys are going to like a kitchen up on the main floor. I think all the people are going to like it up on the main floor. There's not going to be no steps, no hassles on the steps. We're providing access for the tables, for our new storage for the tables. And then we plan to go with carts for the silverware and for all the pots and pans, but the dishes. And the stuff that goes out on the floor, we're going to put it in carts, so we can cart it out, wash it, and cart it back in. And so we're planning for that in the kitchen to make it very user-friendly, easy. And if you guys have any ideas or any input that you'd like us to make sure we don't forget, certainly let us know. Ventilation is a big thing. I don't know if that's on that bid or not, but it goes along with the hood. It has to have outside ventilation, and then it heats up the air when it brings the other air back in, the cold air back in. So we have the ventilation taken care of. And does the price that we have here, does that include the dishwasher?
Yeah,
Just the-
$50,000.
Yeah, now some of this stuff we don't need to have right away, like the dishwasher, but we're going to plan for it anyway. We're going to expect to get it, but if the money isn't here or it doesn't come, then there'll be a slot for it. But that is actually one of the things that we're looking at picking up used, because both of these restaurants, I believe, had dishwashers in them, and a couple of grills. And as far as the grills, does it say what type of grills that we picked out?
No, it doesn't. I put just a rough, one of the stoves, Robbins has 6 burners, and then a 2-foot grill, and then the next one has a 3-foot grill. There would be a total of 3 ovens there. I don't know if we necessarily need that many, but you can decide whether you want 3 or not. I mean, sometimes 3 is nice, but
When you say grill, you mean griddle, for like making
Pancakes,
stuff like
yeah,
that, not
yeah.
a grill, but it's
so
a-
basically there would be 5 feet of grill. And you have 6 burners, and then 5 feet of griddle, and 3 ovens. And then on the back, it would just be kind of just a shelf to set all of your stuff, for your grilling or whatever, and then this here would be, this here's an enclosed unit right here, that you could have your storage pods or whatever you want to store there, and if your roasters could set up there's just a couple other things I kinda drew in, I wasn't sure about, that we could check on, you know, and do things. I really think this would be a good deal for the community, as everybody's getting older, and I think it would be a lot more use out of it, that you would get more use out of the memorial building, and make it easier for people to come in, and
Oh, yeah.
I think you'd have more rentals.
Not sure what all the codes are, but is a fire suppression system needed for like above the griddles? Is that all factored in here too?
Yes.
Yep, that's included, that's ventilation.
Okay, so that is in
Yeah, it has to cut off the vents, it's gotta cut off the vents when you do have a fire, it's gotta close all the vents and shut them off, so you cut off the air. Yep, it's all,
And one thing that we did on the electrical, it's gonna be, if there's a fire or something, it's just one shut off, and everything's dead in the building. That
Yeah.
was, right?
yep, that's a good point. With the firefighters, now they wanna go to one spot and shut off the load to the building. Right now, I think there's 3 spots that you have to go to, and one of them's outside and 2 are inside, to shut the power off on the building. So we're gonna change that to make it that one main feeder, and then it feeds the 2 other supplemental feeders. That update, you know, to me, it really shouldn't be in this kitchen update. It should just be an update all by itself that needs to be done sooner or later. But it's gonna get caught up in this kitchen update, so.
Well, if this happens, then it's gonna have to be done.
Yeah, yeah, if you do anything, you know. And if we were to do the kitchen downstairs, you would still have to do this electrical upgrade anyway, even if we were to, you know, go downstairs and do a basic upgrade. Because that's the poorest thing that there is downstairs, besides the cupboards and stuff, is the electrical. You know.
It is pretty bad down there.
Yeah.
Since this is a city building, that we did need approval from the city to proceed with this project. You know, so that's the first thing. And then, you know, as you can see by this, the second thing is they were hoping that the city could, you know, dedicate $10,000 to this project.
Now, if I read this right, this is going to be considered a commercial kitchen, right, for catering. So we're good there with everything that they want
Right.
for the state.
Yeah, for the state,
Right.
state approved is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
So I just want everybody to know that this is official, state approved, so that we're up to date.
We want the outside entities to come in and use it. We're aiming for this building to be used.
Right.
We got the sound system fixed.
Will it have to be inspected yearly, or how will inspections, because I know for other commercial kitchens, they have to be inspected on a,
Whatever that case may be, will be prepared for.
wasn't sure how that works.
Yeah, I think it is that every year they come by and.
Any other questions? Anybody? Well, I will make a motion that we allow the Legion to proceed with this project. I'm going to assume that, I mean, if you don't get funding, it's probably not going to happen.
No.
Correct.
Mhm.
So, and there's going to be funding sources. But I will make my motion that, the motion is to proceed with this project, providing they get the funding.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on that?
Do we want to look into any type of insurance coverages, just to double check if we need to have policies or anything?
You already have a kitchen downstairs.
Yeah.
And we didn't put in a fryer for one of those reasons, is because of the fire
Okay.
high risk. You know, if we did have a fire, then that would be like a valid question. But we've already got a kitchen downstairs.
That could use for the same thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
sometimes they're bothered and, you know, that's all. This is new.
Oh, we
Question.
should check into it, you know, so.
Gotta have a fryer, everybody wants fried chicken and french fries.
That's
Gotta
outside.
have a fryer, man.
That's outside back.
that's why we could cater it back. And also, yeah, that is a good point, idea. And that's where we plan to use those fryers is outside. We looked at buying one of those, also those portables, but I think somebody's got them around town. Somebody's got a couple portables during the annual parade or something. You always see Fresh Feet Glow over there, so. There's no sense duplicating, somebody that already has something.
Just so we have the electrical big enough for our growing needs
Oh, yeah.
Did
is
you
the
see-
biggest thing.
Did you see that quote?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, you know, so we have all of those taken care of, because you can never go backwards,
No.
and it costs you so much to update.
Just one thing, we were looking at that, and we assumed that there was 3 phases coming into the building, because we could see 3 phases coming in, and it came down into this box, and then it came down to this other box downstairs, and one of the phases ended up being a number 10 wire that went to nothing. That
A
was
wild leg.
it wasn't even a wild leg, because it wasn't tapped onto anything. It was just done. It was dead. So there is 3 phases going into there, but the one is like doing nothing.
Now, are we going to be 3-phase when you put the new box in?
I
or-
believe that's what we're trying to go to,
Okay.
is to 3-phase. Yep.
Because that's usually more expensive, having 3-phase than,
Not necessarily. If all your new motors now are 3-phase.
right,
And if you
motors.
have 3-phase 208 or not, 3-phase is a lot better balance. And I think that's what the levy is for.
Where?
Yeah, levy is coming. And with the plumbing, they're quoting us to put in a 3-inch line, where right now there is a 2-inch line. And he'll give us a break on that bid that he gave us there, if we just help him put it in. I take the ceiling tile off and put that down again.
Even though they're garbage disposal.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And dishwasher.
Yeah, the dishwasher would come in, and jump it back in the dishwasher and then out.
Because it's the wash thing, right?
Have you ever seen the dishwasher?
Here's a hand sink right here. This is a hand sink.
This is the wash thing.
Is it?
Yes, that's got one in the
That would be
fire.
the-
Oh, yeah, that's where you wash the stuff on. Okay, yeah. Any other questions?
Something that with the garbage disposal, you may wanna think about is some kind of a grease interceptor,
Oh, okay.
so we're not putting all that into the
Yeah.
city sewer.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if that wouldn't be like automatic or...
Definitely a good thought.
Yeah. Yeah, that can cause a lot of problems, so definitely
Mm-hmm.
look at that. I don't know what's involved, but
No, we'll look into it.
Levy should have some idea of,
Yep.
who knows about those.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, anything else? Okay, need a motion and a second. Colin?
Yes?
Kip?
Aye.
Mike?
Hi.
Yes. Okay, and the next thing is, they're asking kind of a pledge from the city for $10,000. I was kind of looking through our budget for this year. We had actually budgeted $15,000 for the Sioux Ferry, and there's like over $10,000 left there. So that would be available if, as a funding source for, a city part of this, if,
Would this qualify for infrastructure for the city, to do the 1 cent sales tax?
we already have 1 cent sales tax on here for $55,000. The point is, if the city building, I think it would be nice if the city would actually put some in, But, it's, they're also going to want them to also.
On the infrastructure part, right?
Like, it could be infrastructure or economic development, either one. It's just going to be on the street, so.
Right. And then we could try for any grants or loans to, let's say the city don't have quite as much money this year.
Well, that would be, this is their project.
Right, so, I just wanna, whatever we can get out there to help you guys with the grant, with the loan,
Yeah,
you know, because you're figuring this in 1 year for the raffle, right?
We can only have one a
Right.
year.
But what I'm saying is, if it would help to get the deal done, is to have a loan, and then you could have a raffle this year, then next year, something like that. So we get them enough money so you guys can get it done correctly in 1 year, so it's up and done, and not worry about the financing quite as much. And try to use whatever economic development, any grants, anything. I want to see the project done.
Yeah, I'm all for,
Yeah, you know.
I'm all
oh,
for that.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
I'm
yeah,
just saying,
yeah.
let's,
Yeah.
you know, well, I make a motion that the city finds a budget for $10,000 for this project somewhere. I don't know if it's from the ferry, or if it's from the Memorial Hall, or maintenance for the Memorial Hall, whatever we need to.
We'd have to go through here and find it somewhere. but
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That works? Okay. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that?
Does it have to go to bids then, if there's city funds by the project? Or is it different?
No, it's their project, and we're putting it onto their project, and the city doesn't have to bid, what is it, Eric, like $200,000 or something?
Yeah, it depends if there's, from difference between prime contractor and subcontractor, I know we gotta, have different bids for, but, usually 2,000.
Is it? But the thing is, I guess you're probably giving your project, is we're not.
Well, what I'm saying is, if we do it, we can give the 10,000 for maintenance on the electrical, because it's that bad.
All right, we can
You know,
apply towards that one.
that way. So, you know,
We can do that.
because it definitely needs to be upgraded, definitely. So how do we need to do that, you know?
I'd like to have bids on that too.
Well, for maintenance, we have to have bids on maintenance.
You're just donating this money to them, it's their project. Why does the city has no part of it other than we're donating money? Why do we have to have a bid?
Right,
Yeah.
I agree,
It's not our project.
yeah.
Right.
So you're saying if we donate money to the school or anybody else, we got to have a bid on their project or what's going on?
Yeah.
It's a donation, right?
Yep.
I don't know. If I'm wrong, somebody please let me know.
You're right.
I really don't. I'm just,
I wasn't saying you would have to, I was just.
no, I'm just saying, I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. But to me, a donation is a donation. That's how I see it.
And I don't know what's been done in the past for similar stuff, so I was just curious.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to be an asshole, but that's just what I'm gonna be right now.
Well, you're not. It is what it is. Go ahead. Any other discussion on that? Collins,
Yes.
Mike, Kit?
No, 'cause I think that we should leave 5,000 into that account for that ferry, because that's a battle all the time of coming up funding for that ferry.
Okay, this is a budget item, so at the end of the budget year, the money goes into the general fund. If we want to budget it for next year, then we budget.
Oh, so this is 18's
This
budget
is
that you're
18
talking
budget
about?
that I was talking about here.
Okay, I thought it was next year's budget,
No, that's this year.
because this is gonna go into next year, this ain't gonna get done.
It ain't gonna be done this year, but
Right.
if we allocate the money this year,
Okay,
then,
I see.
yeah,
And it's wherever out of the budget we can
yeah.
come up with it. that works.
And that's right, Rainey, that if we don't use it, it goes in the general fund at the
That's
end of
my,
the year.
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So,
So is your intent that you're gonna cut the check this year to them, so that it comes out of this year's budget?
well, as long as it's earmarked, it doesn't have to be written this year.
Check on that.
Okay. If we need to, we will. Okay, so we'll start. Colin?
Yes.
Kip?
Aye.
Aye.
Colin? Yes. Okay. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, pet issues, Maine? Nope. Okay. Okay, the Sims Norquist Properties,
Can I ask a quick question before you go any further?
you betcha.
What was the pet issue?
She called to complain about, the lack of enforcement of animals running in town. She
Oh.
wants to come and visit with the board about that.
Oh, okay, I see.
Who's got the police portfolio? Kip,
Yep,
maybe have a chat with him if you get a chance.
okay.
Okay, you're the man. Okay, Sims Norquist, I did talk with, Myron, who is Norquist's son-in-law. He's working on it. They've achieved a little bit, but it's slow going. I told him, at least for this year, get the vehicles off the streets, you know, and believe me, he's been working on this for a long time with them. It's just, without getting into a lot of detail, it's, you know, if we push the issue too hard, the guy's gonna have a stroke, because he's got some issues, so, and we don't want that to happen. But he is working very, very hard on that with Norquist. As far as the Sims property, I tried, David was really busy today, I tried getting a hold of him again. He has talked with Mr. Sims, and he's been trying to get something done on that. I think we're probably gonna have to go to the next step on that, and whatever that is, and I will, you know, be talking to him about that. Like I said, I tried to get a hold of him today again, but he was unavailable. Any questions on that?
So if we table this, if it's right, it'll come back up the next issue, or next meeting, and it's on there for us. So we stay on it, right?
We can put it on the next.
Table it. If we table it, then we have to address it next meeting. Right? Table it till the next meeting.
Well, one way or the other, we're gonna have it on the next.
Meeting. There you go. However you want to put it.
Yeah. Okay. Separate building?
Did you want to speak, Mark, or did you want me to do it, or?
First of all, I would like to say that the environmental stuff came back pretty positive. This is a good thing.
Yeah, a lot of our concerns, which we're afraid to do, but yeah, they come back better than expected, so. Why don't you go ahead and,
Well, we had the environmental done, and he came in, this Spillman, and he did all the testing, he looked at it, he thought overall, I have a email from him, just, he was going to show up here, but he might have, or he had other arrangements. So, he said overall, the building has a new roof in it, it has, the foundation isn't crumbling or going down. The issues with the asbestos, there was some asbestos in the furnace.
If I may, it says the basement is falling apart.
the plaster's coming apart in the basement. There's no major crumbling of walls that are falling in.
Okay.
Is basically what he said. Yeah, he said, crumbling. Well, there's wood that was put in the walls because somebody wanted to save money at one time.
Yeah.
So then the plaster that's coming off there is what's crumbling in.
Well, and the wood's rotted too.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Go ahead. I'm
But
sorry to interrupt.
it's not that we got a whole wall pushing in.
Right.
But on the furnace, there's a little bit of asbestos. What he said that could be done with that is with the mask and stuff like that, somebody could come in and just kind of clean off the asbestos and just repaint it and leave it. There's no reason to do anything with it. There's some asbestos in the drywall screen coat over the screws on the drywall, which per volume is nothing. So it's below the threshold that they're worried about. Lead is in some of the outside paint, which I don't know how we got lead in the outside paint, which makes no sense unless it wasn't scraped off the first time. And so that's the green paint on the outside, the dark green around the windows and the bottom border, but the rest of the paint's fine. There's lead in the banister and lead in the flooring, but the flooring is in really good shape where it's not peeling up. He said when I talked to him, as long as you're not under 18 years of age and eating off the floor of the banister or inhaling the dust in there, it won't affect the normal person. He also said that the mold in there is a little bit high, but if you're just using it for a walkthrough or for, as long as you're not living in it, it's just fine. Because the outside mold is way higher than the inside mold. And he said, with running the fans and in the summer, you're actually contaminating the system because the outside is 15,000 and the inside is only 5,000, is basically what he said. So basically, if you want to keep it, he had some ideas. It's just basically a little dehumidifier in the summer to keep the moisture out because it's that freezing and cooling that is causing moisture to collect in the building. Nothing real serious, but the way I understood, he thought it was a good building to just leave the way it is and not really do anything with it. Maybe make the outside look a little bit better, but he didn't see a problem any place with letting people go through there. So I believe we should let that be reopened to Rhonda when she has somebody coming in. Basically, it'll be closed for the winter now, but in the spring, people can go back in there. And if we get volunteers, if we can put just a little maintenance in, which we should be doing everywhere. The streets need maintenance, the Memorial Hall needs maintenance, everything needs maintenance. As long as we don't cut it down to nothing, it might be something in the future that somebody's going to want. But there's no use spending money on it to tear it down.
I have a problem spending money on it to fix it up.
Yeah, but fixing it up and maintenance are two different things.
Okay.
Why do you have problems cleaning up?
Because I think it's first of all, a building that has really lots of usefulness. I think it's going to take so much that you're going to need windows, you need doors, you need to put a heating system and a cooling system if you're going to keep the building in shape. And that's not maintenance, that is improvements.
How long has that furnace been out of there? When was that disconnected?
The thing is, if you don't heat and cool the building, it falls apart on the inside. That's just a fact.
Right, but he said as long as you keep the moisture out of it, buildings usually don't fall apart real fast.
Well,
You keep the water out of
It's
there.
been falling apart for a long time, so.
Well, the Memorial Hall's been falling apart for years. Well, there's water in the basement there running in through the floor, and we got pictures of those.
Fair.
And I don't think it's fixed yet.
There was a water leak, I fixed it. That's coming up later.
Is that why the tile's coming up?
Coming up later in the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing is, it's a museum. If the Plain County Historical Society would like to take it over you know, and be their building, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But, you know, I think the city has way more things to spend their money on than that building. That's my opinion.
So on that note, I have researched, there are 2 different grants that would be applicable to that. There's an AARP grant, and there's also a grant that is through the credit services of Mandan. Actually, we are entitled to some oil funds, washrooms entitled to some oil funds. So putting this maintenance and renovations, possibly adding a public community restroom to the side of that building, in addition to creating a space out in front of it where people can sit and gather. It goes along with the governor's initiative of his Main Street. So in doing so, we could create actually a scope of work and apply for grant money that have no matching funds, so it would not come out of the city's budget. So, and this is exactly why I've been sending emails to all the commissioners saying, come up with projects, and this is one of those examples. This is a prime candidate to apply for some of those grants. Now, will we get the grant? Hopefully. I've been pretty successful here lately. We can apply for the 2 grants and see how we do. And there's actually other grants that are coming up later in the year that we can also apply for. So there's opportunities out there without the city making a statement that they want to tear it down when it is a historic site.
Well, looking at that green building is like looking at the ferry boat, you know, I mean, as long as you organize and put, you know, like we painted it, this, you know, the upper part, the white part, I think we spent $500 free labor. We've never done that well. But by organizing, getting volunteers, you can get a lot of work done for not that much money.
GRE, Blue Flint, and RDO all have volunteer hours that they are willing to donate to the community. They just need to know what the projects are. So once the projects are determined, whether it's painting the green building or maintenance on the ferry or what have you, if we tell them that we have projects, this is what it is, they will provide people to do these projects. RDO has even said they provide the equipment to do these projects with their employees.
I did look into the size of the windows to replace, because they're a larger size window. They're about $300 plus tax to change out a window. But to replace a broken window costs about $20 for a window pane. So, I mean, if you just say, well, let's just fix the window instead of trying to replace it, because then you have trim and everything else to deal with. But I mean, it's common sense. It's an older building. If you go in there and say, let's have a game plan of going in and let's do this much this year and this much. It's not like this committee has looked at, like, yeah, let's got it out and stick $500,000 in it. I mean,
I think you have to do that.
well, we looked at everything. But one thing we have looked at is you have one public restroom, and that's in this building, in the Main Street. It would be nice to have just
One.
but on the other end of Main Street.
So now it's not maintenance, now you're adding on.
Well, I mean, we're just throwing a.
I know, I think right now, but you mentioned two different ways, you know, to maintenance now to add on.
Well, we were looking at putting a bathroom inside the building. So now we're looking at, you know, would it be more logical just to add on a bathroom to the outside so you don't have to worry about handicap accessible? Or, I mean, you have a Legion Memorial monument down there, and you have nothing to service that to the community.
Well,
I guess that's where this committee is trying to
yeah,
say.
I will say though that, you know, going off the original presentation, you know, you had all these plans drawn out, we could do this, that, and the other thing, like completely redoing the inside and stuff like that. And that's what I was going off of, you know, and you can't fault me for that.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
definitely not. I mean, that's why this committee is, we don't have tunnel vision. And we look at, you know,
Right,
that
but-
proposal, we're looking at, you know, it was gonna be very expensive. Okay, is that really the path that, you know, the city can afford to go down? No. So now we're changing gears and we're saying, okay, let's just keep up the maintenance on it. And then,
Let's create a public space
yeah,
that people are wanting to go to.
And you had talked about tearing it down and putting a public bathroom in a green space then,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
Well,
then you'd have room for it.
You still
but,
won't.
you know,
I
we're
don't
trying to
know,
work
you go
around
to the
it.
bathroom and bath. I mean,
On the side, we were thinking.
Side.
and the
So
building,
that
you
people
know,
you don't see everybody going in, but it's all flat, it's all cemented there. And then just, we're not sure when they put Main Street in, if you actually put the sewer system into a hookup, or if you just said, whoops, let's not even worry about it.
that sewer system hasn't been upgraded.
Yeah, but was there a
Whatever.
splice in?
Well, there must have been, there was water and sewer there.
Right, so is there a tap into Main Street without taking up the street?
Oh, there, whether it's functional or not, I have no idea.
Right,
But we can
what
find out.
gotta
We can
look
find
at.
out.
Exactly.
Um,
But just give the kids farther down the road the choice of what they want to do, not what we want to do.
I guess, you know, I thought this was gonna be about, you know, what we found, in there, you know, because that's what we decided we were gonna do. We need to do this testing to find out the condition of the building. You know, and I guess it kind of got blown out into, you know, what are we gonna do with the building? Which is fine. I guess, you know, I guess we'd have to see some plans of what you want to do.
sure.
you
Well,
know.
and I guess this committee would like to just move forward and try to come up with a logical, reasonable way to maintain this building, you know, keep the costs down as much as we can, but also try to turn it into a draw on Main Street. And because it is part of Washburn's history, and if we tear down every old building in town, we will have no.
It's a small part of Washington history, quite honestly, but, you know.
That building's been used by like 6 different,
City Hall, the Lions,
Boy Scouts,
Boy Scouts, the KP,
the Otter.
it was different, organizations that, they weren't moved up to the courthouse at the same time.
How would the Historical Society like to take over the building?
You have to ask the board members of the historical society.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a museum.
I don't understand why you're putting good money to bad, even talking about it. Putting a restroom next to it just to make it work, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, not
You
to
guys
make
were
it,
just talking a little bit earlier about fixing up the Memorial Hall, it's a really nice building that the community does use. You're talking about putting good money into that old building, it's crazy. Crazy. You asked him why he wanted it, he was against it, why are you guys for it, just because it's an old building?
okay,
Save an old building?
when's the last time you've been in there?
It's when I was about this high off the ground, that's when most people were in there.
well, the same question is why we put any money in the ferry? You should have been just pushed into the river and let it go
I
downhill.
was thinking of that too,
But that's not how everybody thinks about that. You know, and are your children going to miss it someday down the road?
Nope.
I don't have it, but I surely would, I can guarantee you that.
Well, then, what's
That's
your connection to the
That's the
community?
problem, I think,
I look at it up in my back window.
this community, how many times have your kids been down there?
So,
My kids have went through there, and that last Saturday of the parade that we had, walked through that museum down there, the first time probably ever, unless I didn't know the school put them down.
go from the second.
You know what I mean? That's what I mean. There's nothing in this community, if you're worried about the kids 20, 30 years from now, they're not gonna care. I'll tell you that right now. It's the adults and the people that are around here that the ones that have any sentimental value to that place are the ones that grew up in this town, you knew what it was about, and you know why it's there. Them are the ones that have your sentimental. Kids ain't gonna have nothing. I hate to say it, but it's a fact. I hope I'm wrong, but
I think it depends on the kids. I've had kids that come in and say they love the museum. When they come and visit their grandparents, that's the first place they want to come is to that museum.
from out of town.
Yeah, but they're.
That's what I'm saying, out of town. You guys are trying to get your kids and talking about the kids in the future of this town. Your kids 30 years from now ain't gonna give two bits about that place. The kids that are coming in from out of town, they're going to see their grandparents that live here. That's a special treat. They get taken down there and go and see that, you know. They get the grandparents explain it, go back to them with it. How many grandparents live right here in town and take their grandkids down there? Exactly. See, I'm not trying to be mean, okay? Don't take me wrong. I'm just trying for you to understand the kids of this town in 20, 30 years, they ain't gonna care about that stuff. It's the generation we are right now, and you guys that are from here, grew up here, and know the history of that place.
The parents having to take them there. Your kids never went because you never brought your kids down.
My kids don't even learn American history, North Dakota history right here in town. I went down to South Dakota, they didn't even know what Sitting Bull was. And you're gonna tell me that I gotta take them over here? Nah, I don't think so. It starts right there in that school. That's a fact.
But one thing too, you gotta look at, I mean,
Yeah, it does.
we're trying to preserve a little bit of history, because once it's gone, it ain't coming back.
Right.
So, at what point do you say, okay, we're 1918 or 2018, everything passed, we're gonna get rid of it, and we're just gonna move forward. You know, you gotta hold on to some kind of history.
When you're throwing a bunch of money, bad money, old crap.
Well, you don't even know how much money you
Windows are shot, the paint, you said the paint had asbestos in it or whatever?
No, no.
Lead
Lead.
in it?
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, you don't have kids going down there anyway, you don't have to worry about the lead.
what difference does it make?
And,
If
you know,
no kids are gonna go down there, ever. It's ridiculous. You guys are just finding ways, throwing spitballing ways to try to get some money and get it approved. That's what you're doing. At the end of the day, it's gotta be a decision of an old building, put any money into Band-Aid this thing together, push it down for the next generation to deal with. That's what you're talking about.
you wanna be like Cole Harbor and Underwood and let's just close everything down and just get out?
I'd tear it down, let's light a match, I don't care. Nobody's using it for anything anyway, I gotta look out that thing in my backyard every day. It's just a big green blob of window, plywood on windows, pieces falling down, it's a joke.
Well, that's why this committee was formed, because that building wasn't being taken care of like it should have been.
Yeah, I know. You guys, it's the
I mean-
courthouse battle all over again is what it's gonna turn into.
Yeah, stick a bunch of money in it and then tear it down anyway.
Yeah.
And build a new
I'm
one
not
so
that far
that,
against it, but I'm just saying. All I want is just,
Upkeep. Now this is saying against history and all that. You got the Nettle Creek Schoolhouse. Should we not fix that up? Should somebody's relative not decide to donate money towards it to put a bench in?
It all comes down to money. You can get some, if you can get some non-city funds to Band-Aid that thing together, have at it.
that's what we just said.
Yeah, good luck though. You're, you know, at some point you're gonna have to get some major funding from the city, I'm guessing, to get it to work, right? Or you're wanting it?
well, you got the grants all written up or whatever for these two that you're talking about. You got them all written up and sent in.
No, because I need the bid, and I needed the approval to move forward with them, and I needed the plan.
And the report from this, or from the deals, which we're discussing now.
Once I have all that, yes, I can submit them.
You have a bid?
We do not, we don't have plans.
Thought you said, okay. So you don't have plans or bid or anything?
We just wanted to come forth with the environmental, of what the building was, to give you guys a good solid report. That was,
Well,
that money was used for by the city.
Well, and that's why, you know, I said at that meeting, I said, the city just needs to go ahead and do this so we know where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, we can't do anything until we know where we're at, so, you know, if you guys want to keep working on the plan, that's fine. You know, like I said, I am against, you know, putting city funds into that building. That's the way I stand personally. Sure. Because I think we have way more important things to spend our money on. So, but that's why.
My question is the museum open for me to bring public in or for us to walk through and hang up Christmas lights? Or not?
Well, you know, we've had a city employee go in there and he starts, you know, wheezing when he gets in there. You tell me if it's safe.
Well, this tells you that it's safe.
Well, that tells me that it was tested, doesn't tell me it's safe, but.
I think that report says, he says it's safe to walk through. So,
Well, to walk through,
well, that's what it says, as long as you're not living in there, is what he said. And that's in the reports on the asbestos and all that stuff.
With that city
So-
employee leaving, you were also there looking at mixed stuff in the museum and that, and kept saying, you know, he's wheezing, and you kept on still looking at the stuff, so.
Well, that was his choice.
Yes.
I didn't tell him.
I leave-
I didn't tell him he had to stay in there and keep looking.
And say, if you have allergies, asthma, or anything like that, maybe it's best for you not to go into it. So I warned them beforehand, we do have face masks now.
Okay. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you know, yeah, and they said, you know, people can go in there, so if that's what you want to do.
Well, another thing too is, we were throwing out the idea of we might have health concerns. So when people come in there right away, they're thinking, you know, if I smell anything, do anything, am I exposing myself? Well, we found out it's not the case. So, I mean, so at least you go in the building, you think, yeah, I'm okay. You know, if you went into a confined space and you know, you're not testing the air, and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to assume the worst. And so you're going to be like, you know, hold your breath, trying not to create any dust. You know, it's just common sense.
Oh, yes. I see a hard head somewhere.
These grants, I'm not sure we got them for money-wise.
50,000 for one, and actually both of these I think are 50,000, so it'd be $100,000.
That'd be okay, sure.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else on this?
Need a motion
To what?
to want to proceed with letting Hannah continue her
Letting the committee move
Or
forward.
And reopening it to the public.
Thank you, guys.
is that
Well, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I guess that's, if the committee wants to do that, they can sure do it. I mean, you know, it's not saying that if they get a grant, we're gonna say, yeah, go ahead and do it. You know, I mean, we need to see a plan and everything else. I mean, I would say, but, you know, and whose responsibility is what, and, you know, what they're gonna cost us, and, you know, just to say, go ahead and get your grant and start working on it, we can't do that.
We gotta go with the grants first, if the grants come in, or we come up with more plans. So we need
Why don't we
to,
turn this over, that was asked before, to the Historical Society, see if they want it.
Well,
If they want it.
I just asked that, yeah, but yeah, right.
Turn it over to them, and then,
You can do what they want.
yeah. Like I say, I've kinda got an issue with using public funds. I relate it back to the old courthouse. How many millions of taxpayer funds were stuck into that, and ultimately get torn down?
The only thing with that is, I don't think you can just give the building its property itself, and then now you have the Legion Monument sitting there, and this and that. I mean, who takes possession of that?
Give it a 90 lease. For it all. On the land. Or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I'm just, you know, bringing that.
I know, yeah.
Just giving the Historical Society building
her question, why, because of the land. You know, just give them the building. To me, it's, okay, if you want the building, I would expect the land goes with it.
Mhm.
Yes, we could do that. I don't know what kind of, thing was made with the Legion when that monument was up there, though. We have to research into that too, you know.
Because I know, I was on the commission at the time when that was put in, and then, you know, sprinkler system was put in.
Do you remember what the terms were for that?
Not at this time.
We can look it up, though, yeah.
It's a question, maybe they don't want it, I don't know, but it's something to ask.
But yeah, if we could, I mean, I wouldn't be a problem giving up the land also, I mean, that would be fine.
I think you guys should take it.
Well, I guess, maybe you guys want to invite the board from the Historical Society to come to a meeting and...
Well, maybe we can go to their meeting
Discuss it.
too.
Sure.
When do you have a meeting?
When would you like me to schedule one?
I don't know, if you
I
don't,
will get hold of our president and vice president, see what's available this day.
why don't you talk to them and just get a feel, and then just get a hold of me and we'll set up a meeting one way or the other, so. Okay?
All right. Thanks.
Thank you,
guys.
everybody.
Yep.
Andy, you might as well stay.
I know, that's what I was just thinking.
Anybody else have anything on that? Okay.
Strategic plan?
Okay?
So, the Main Street team, Governor's Main Street team was here back in September. One of the recommendations that they made was that Washburn needs to update our strategic plan. Washburn's last strategic plan, a comprehensive strategic plan, was prepared in 2001, and the report was prepared from an award with the U.S. Department of Commerce and Economic Development. We've got the proposal, the plan merit, along with the community of Washburn. The plan was put in place to be followed until it is replaced by a new plan. In 2007, WIDA, which was WIDA at that time, WIDA and the city updated the plan, and since 2007, I don't believe the strategic plan has been looked at. With the governor's team recommending a new strategic plan, I did some research, and I applied for a grant with the Department of Commerce, and I was awarded $7,000 for the use of doing a new strategic plan. I've gotten one bid on a strategic plan. Probably will get 2 more bids from a couple more companies, but $7,000, it looks like we could do a plan without utilizing city funds to do it. So, but in doing so, the way a strategic plan starts is you start with community meetings discussing what the community is wanting, needing, comes up with capital plans for the city. So, I mean, the city commission most definitely would need to be involved and be a part of the planning process, but the strategic plan itself would be facilitated by someone else. So that person would be the one that would be documenting everything and coming up with the plan and basically giving us the plan when it's all put together. So I guess today I'm asking for feedback and thoughts on that, with $7,000 basically on the table as a grant that we've already received from the Department of Commerce.
You said there's no match on that?
Mm-mm. We already matched it.
Yeah, I looked through the, I went to the 2007 and I forgot. I think I had that one at home somewhere. But, strategic plans are good.
community meetings, and scheduling those might be what really determines the timeframe. We can get a better idea, and I can get back to you about that. And then kind of input on your thoughts as to when to start the process. Do we go ahead and start sooner rather than later? Do we start after the first of the year? I mean, we want as many community members to participate, different organizations, American Legion, I mean.
Do they send out, like, or do we send out, like, questionnaires and stuff? Or
There will be online surveys, there'll be letters that go out, there'll be roundtable discussions that are facilitated, asking specific questions about, you know, the community and what people want to see in the community and so forth. You know, it's good for a strategic plan because then, you know, rather than just, you know, us trying to decide, do we save the courthouse, do we not, do we do this, do we do that? I mean, a community is getting together and all those thoughts and ideas are gathered and hopefully discussed.
Well, I think, I think you need to update your plans as you go. I mean,
I would say if you're gonna start something this time of year is probably not real good with all the holidays and plans and vacations, and, you know, we'll start sometime after the first of the year.
Okay.
yeah, it's a busy time, so yeah, I would say sometime after the first of the year.
So, kind of a question too is, so with the commission needing to be, you know, on board, involved, how is that, I mean, because once you have a quorum involved in it, it's an official meeting, but it's already going to be a public meeting, so how is...
I guess we'd have to read how it's written. If we're not deciding on anything as a group, is it considered a quorum? Because we can all go to a function at the school together and watch a basketball game. We're all there. We're not a quorum. I guess it would depend on how it's handled, I guess, you know. But if, you know, we're representing ourselves and not, you know, hashing back and forth decisions like that, I guess it'll be fine. I don't know. We'd have to research that, I guess.
Okay.
You know. And maybe even just all the leaders or somebody will be able to answer that.
Okay.
Possibly.
Do you need to vote on that, or?
Well, I mean, I don't think we need to. I mean, you know,
Since
we'll,
there's no funding?
you know, kind of come up with the plan where to start, and then at another meeting, then we'll officially go with it, I guess.
Okay. I'll come up
Does
with
that
more
sound good?
bids and propose a bid and...
Anybody else have any comments on that?
I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we? Okay, Memorial Hall rental, Riverside 4-H.
Yeah, so they had sent us a letter, last meeting you approved October 28th and November 18th, as saying, waiving the fees. Now they're coming back and asking for the rest of the school year.
They meet once a month, is it? Do they meet downstairs or upstairs?
Jackie, you know,
For our tree or
Different group.
different group?
I was thinking it was downstairs as well, but I don't know that for sure.
I'll make a motion to waive the fee for the rest of the school year. For the 4-H.
I'll second that. Yeah, as long as it doesn't interfere with anything else, I think that's fine. Yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Good.
Aye.
Mike?
No.
Manuel?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Civic Club? Or not Civic Club, but Memorial Hall rental for the Civic Club? Sorry.
Yep, so they've, sent us we have a rental contract from them, but they're asking for a waiver of the fees for December 7th and 8th for Santa Days.
I'll make that motion too.
Okay. I'll second. Next question. Okay, fund, or Y fund, whatever it is.
So we've got a rental agreement from Danville asking for waiver fee for November 24th, which is a small business Saturday. For the gym floor.
What exactly is Y fund?
We're gonna do, small business, it's small business Saturday, so we're doing some events in the hall, like soup and desserts and, gingerbread contests and things like that.
Oh,
That
it's a
day.
community event, so,
Yeah.
okay.
I make a motion to waive that fee.
Any other discussion? Colin?
Yes.
What?
My son is now part of Civic Club. They've been absorbed under Civic Club.
Oh, thank you.
That group has technically gone away and it's just a Civic Club committee.
Oh, cool, okay, thank you. Okay, well, you voted, right?
Yes.
Kit?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
No? Yes.
I have another thing on that. We're having a parade on Main Street.
Okay.
Who do I talk to block up the streets or make sure we, I don't know how they did it last year, do you remember? Did you?
Well, you generally ask the city if you can do it, and then you say yes, and then you know, the barricades or whatever.
Okay, all right.
When is that?
Yes, I have.
I'd also like to ask if it's okay to have a imposter phase here again like last year.
They were pretty cute.
That's the same day?
Yes.
All of us.
No, it's a.
All on the same day?
All on the same day.
The 7th and 8th, or what?
No, it's the
On the 24th,
Weekend
okay.
is Thanksgiving weekend.
It's
That's
the
that parade and the
Yeah.
Santa, or the parade of lights or whatever, is that all?
Lady, craft at the hall.
And the imposters will be down by the mural.
Thanks for
Are we having a petting zoo again?
That's the imposters.
That's impossible.
I'll make the motion that they close up the street and they can have their votes. Same as last year for November 24th.
The deer.
Panel,
Up to the goats.
Jericho panel. We can, well, we can let them be in, but you can just cut it out.
Okay, we'll add that.
Possibly, I don't know. We'll get in touch about the Riverboat Days panel. Does the city have panels?
Okay, we have a motion, we need a second before we get that.
Second.
Okay, now discussion.
Second?
You know what, you guys can figure that out, okay? What you want to do? Hmm? You just work with Brian, okay. Any other discussion on that? Colin?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, you figure it out with Brian.
Are we harvesting these deer?
Negative.
You want a moose or something? I could probably bring one of
Okay.
them from the...
Number 13 has been, we're leaving that out at this time, because they asked to leave it out at this time, correct?
Correct, we'll have to bring it up again, maybe
Yeah.
December, January.
Yeah. Removed. Okay, planning and zoning, Brett Sanders. It came before the planning and zoning. They live, just up from the museum on the corner there. They want to build a garage. But because of the size of their lot, you know, there isn't enough room to follow the setbacks correctly. So, planning and zoning recommends granting a variance, of, let's see. Allow the frontage of the garage to line up with the house on the 6th Street side. And, let's see. And then a 3-foot variance from the Santa's property, on the south side. So they recommend that we, do all variance.
How close is that going to be? Is that going to be like the one up at Courtwood that they're only a half a vehicle off of the street?
No, this is put in so that they can
So-
actually park
so we're-
on their driveway.
So we're not going too far out of whack, we're just a little bit, right?
Correct. What
Okay.
it is they actually wanted it closer, and we said, no, you have to go back further so that you can at least park on there without being in the street.
Right, that's what I was...
Yes, correct.
They, repeat, they were 3 feet from whose property? From another property?
It's from that, across the alley from the museum, there's that block building. Many years ago, it used to be the laundromat.
Yep.
It's 3 feet from there.
Okay. Now, who owns that?
The funeral home, yeah.
Are they
They're fine
willing
with
to give a variance with it?
They're fine
Do you
with it.
assign variance?
Absolutely, they're fine.
Okay.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. Any other questions? Colin?
Yes.
Kit?
Right.
Mike?
Aye.
Paul? Yes. Okay. Where am I at there? Okay, paving project, you know, what that is I would like to, have our engineers, get us cost estimates for, you know, what it would cost to redo the paving in the Heritage Heights, which is across the highway, and then also, the Pleasant Acres and Sundown Park, 4th editions of town, so that, you know, we've done all the rest of the streets of town, and these are bad, and this would be an estimate for what the cost, you know, wouldn't be for next year, but, you know, maybe for a project in possibly 2020, you know, so we at least have an idea that we could let people know, you know, what they could expect. And I think we had talked, part of that's already been done.
We did put everything that already, so that won't take too much to provide an estimate. And I think one of them would not have utility replacement, it would be street.
I don't think you want to be utility replaced.
It would be street.
Might be a patch here and there, but that would be budget very close. So I would like, I would make a motion that we get a cost estimate for these areas. Excuse me, from HOS.
No, that is the...
Actually, have a second before we discuss.
A second.
Okay, now, okay, good.
Now, is that the Heritage Heights that goes behind the cabin up through there? I'm assuming.
Heritage Heights is basically everything across the highway, you know, goes past, you know, Heritage Heights Apartment, it goes,
Right.
Um,
So we understand where we're going,
correct.
because the new part is already
you
paved.
go past your house, correct?
Past my house.
Yep.
Since they're playing mud runners up there, because the road's closed, but everybody decides that they have to play mud runner up there. Are you going to look into that, or is it just the repave? I'm just asking.
Repave.
Okay. Because
Because if we do the other stuff, it would have to be put in a district, and then, you know, it would be a new development kind of, you know what I mean? Somebody would have to develop that.
well,
So to
that's
speak.
what I'm wondering, what,
Yeah.
you know,
This is repaving, correct,
it's just repaving.
right.
You know,
Did you want to add on to that? or-
No, I was just,
Yeah,
you know,
Okay.
like I said, with the
yeah,
playing mud runner through there and all that stuff with the church, there's only one access back there,
right.
you know, and that's where all the new housings are going.
Mhm.
So it's one of those
And there is a new park up there.
Well, you know,
that they haven't developed yet, but that would all be in that same road going to that park.
but also there's underground there too that would have to be
Nope.
done. Yes,
I-
because the underground only went up to where the pavement stops.
That's on that side there, and there's no other one in between. So that's what I'm saying, there's no utilities through there
That's what I
besides cable.
Yeah, that's why they would have the underground in that section too, not just pavement.
I don't know where,
But we can add that in, yeah.
no, I'm not saying to add that in.
Oh,
I'm just trying to figure out what what your plan of action is going to be in that area with all dirt piles. I'm just asking, because that's where all the development is going, that we've been giving away these lots. Or not giving away, but every lot that was there was supposed to be built on, but all of a sudden the commissions have let people buy 1 or 2 lots now, and that's not how it was. I got the paperwork on that one. Way back when it was put in there for a zoning district.
Okay.
But that's been changed since then because people are buying more than 1 lot now when they're building back there.
Generally, when they buy a second lot, they are buying an unimproved lot next to their improved lot.
Yeah, but it was written as, that time, every lot was supposed to be built on.
Okay, I don't...
Just like you have to have a lot connecting to build a garage on it.
Right.
That's how it was set up, but
Okay.
that's not how it was followed up there. It
Okay.
was changed.
I-
When the developer
Okay, yeah,
followed out and we got stuck with all the taxes again.
yeah.
I was gonna say, the developer would
Yep.
have thought that was a stipulation.
Yes, it was. And it wasn't used.
Yeah.
So I just want information. Not saying anything's right or
Right,
wrong.
okay, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked if it was just a repave.
Right.
Because some of this repave, that was just skim coated, if I remember right up there. It don't have a whole lot of gravel underneath. That's.
Well, what it would be, you grind, you mill the pavement out,
Right, but they're,
reshape, and repave.
right, but the pavement's not very thin. They skim coated it at that time, because it's not very thick. That's why all the hairline cracks are in there, right? You don't remember that?
I don't remember anything about.
Going by Van Horn's too, that was a skim coat, because there was no curb and gutter in there.
Right.
But that's where all these houses are being pulled out to go on the highway. So that's way overweight.
I don't know what they did for subgrade stuff at that time.
Yeah,
That was before I ever.
that's what we need to look at if they're
Well,
going
where
to
the
look
houses
at
are
them.
going,
No, that's
they're always way overweight.
where that house is going past Van Horn's,
I don't know, there's always way.
with all wheels on there. Way more than a garbage truck.
That's why they have more axles, they'll just change out that way.
Right, but they're twisting and turning and getting the stop signs out of there to go in that, and there's no curb and gutter. That's just all skim coat at that time when Van Horn's had that put in. Or,
I'm not sure what you mean by skim coat. I
in
don't,
other words,
I'm not sure what that term means.
okay,
You,
how deep do you go with the gravel to get a good base? That's why Heritage has the whoopty-doos up in there, because, is there a whole...
yeah, the thing is, the developer at the time put it in, and they did a crappy job. I mean, there's no question about it.
Well, it's
It
skim
hasn't
coat.
been redone since then,
Right.
So, I mean, that's,
So we got to figure out if we're just going to mill it off and hit gravel right away, then just pave over it, or are we going to go down farther and...
well, no, that's not the idea. The idea is to go in there and fix it correctly.
Well, that's what I'm asking, what
Well, yeah,
we're going to do.
yeah.
If we're going to go in there and put concrete into the dust and the gravel and, to firm up the undercoating.
Yes, the idea is to make it correct.
Correct, that's
Yeah.
why I'm asking, not just,
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, that's what I said, yeah, well,
that's what I was
Mill it
wondering, what estimate we're getting.
yeah, exactly. Any other questions on that?
Can you repeat that? I heard Heritage Heights, Sundown, what was the other one?
Okay, it's Heritage Heights, which is across the highway.
Great.
There's, Sunnyvale Park and Pleasant Acres. And they're right next to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's another road in between there. That goes past Van Horn, that's named something else too.
Well, it's the area,
It's
talk about the
basically-
area, so, yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna list each individual road.
Because that one road is county, right?
Rough Rider? No. That's ours.
That's ours,
That's
okay.
in the front of the captain's cabin?
Yep, and up through there.
No, that's ours.
But that's county.
Anything else? Colin,
Pardon?
question?
Oh,
No.
Get-
No, we're voting.
Oh, we're
Voting
voting.
the question.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. No,
Hi.
yes.
Question,
Yes.
is there any plan on when the rest of Main Street is ever going to be done? Just out of curiosity.
Well, you know, we did it, you know, so that, we're hoping to get another, you know, a couple years at least out of it, if not more. That's the hope, you
Just
know.
wondering for long future,
Yeah.
how, when it was in the plan for the future.
Yeah, we're you know, we're trying to, you know, make that last as long as we can, because it's in fairly decent shape, you know, it's not all busted up and really humpy and stuff, so, yeah.
Just curious.
There's another part of town that would like the work done too.
There what?
There's another part of town that would like to have their roads redone too.
Who's that?
By like up by Cenex and that.
That's where these are.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where these are.
That's the Sundown?
Yeah, Sundown and the Bankers, yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought they were both across, but.
No, that's just Heritage Heights across. It's the Heritage Heights area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Got that, Eric?
Yep, I do got it, Heritage Heights, Sundown Park, and Pleasant Acres, and like I said, we had an effort into that,
Right.
I think last year,
Yeah.
before maybe,
Yeah,
so it shouldn't take too much to get something.
perfect. Spending authority. There's been some questions on spending authority. It was decided back in 2015, June 9th on 2015. It was $1,500, or purchasing limits of $1,500 for change orders and discretionary spending in emergency situations for commissioners. And that motion was amended to include purchases be approved by the portfolio holder and the president of the commission. That's what was decided then. And then in 2017, there was a motion to approve, well, it was actually $500, but it was amended to $250 that each commissioner could authorize on their own for purchases. Now, if we want to change that, this would be a good time to have some questions that have been brought up on that.
What questions, Larry?
I don't know, somebody asked something, was it the last meeting or something, somebody asked on that? What was it? Wasn't it a question on
Yeah,
that?
so we asked about just with normal operation of the office, like, we have no spending authority to purchase supplies or something like that, so we're requesting some kind of authorization to be able to purchase things or anything on a daily basis.
The thing is, kind of what's always been, you know, it's kind of always been, and obviously you need paper, you gotta order paper, you know. I mean, it's an everyday thing that you always do. You know, when we order tar, you know, they don't come up and say, can I order tar? We always order tar every year, because it's something that we always get every year, you know. When we order salt, or we get our sand, you know, we just get it. You know, it doesn't come before the commission say, can I get salt and sand? You know, I think this was more for things that come up that aren't everyday things, you know?
This all started over a leaf blower.
Could be,
It did.
yeah,
That's where this all come about.
yeah. So,
It's because a certain, it wasn't you,
no,
it was a certain somebody that blew a gasket over purchasing a leaf blower.
yeah, I know. But you're right, that's where it started with, but, so, do we want to stick with this, or do we want to change it, or?
Well, I think we need to change it, because with the truck improvement that we did, which we needed to do with the sander, that was $1,200, right? And that wasn't approved. We didn't approve to fix the truck, we approved to do the sander.
Right.
So, we need to
We had
adjust.
talked about the truck, but
Right,
we
we
never-
didn't approve it.
Right.
So, you know, but whoever's on the streets needs some leeway, because we need to have that done and up and running. And as long as it's brought up in a commission meeting, I don't see a problem with that. If, otherwise, if it's only 250, we've already went out of our deal, because that wasn't approved.
Right, exactly.
So,
Then doesn't that, fixing that truck go back into, we'll just order sand and gravel and tar?
well, that would be in the, Larry, your streets rate.
Yep.
Well, sand and stuff, about that, that's normal maintenance, that's the person that needs to make that judgment call. But if you have $250, it's pretty hard to do that.
Correct.
So I'm just a little bit more leeway,
Right, and
What would happen to the truck?
We ordered a more universal sander, but how it fits on there on the back, it wasn't accessible real well. Didn't
cut
fit on
the back end off.
Yes.
Step on there.
So it spreads better.
Oh, that's what it went up to, trespass.
Yeah,
That's not that we could have done ourselves?
and with welding and stuff with the plasma cutter, it would have just taken us so much longer to do
Well,
it probably.
I don't know. I knew nothing about it till it was done, so I don't know. But, I thought we would just torch the back end off and be done with it, but apparently there were steps put on and stuff, or something.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from,
I don't either.
the steps and stuff like that. I know we had talked about if we needed to do it, but we never approved it.
I mean, the steps are a good idea, but,
Yeah, bumper is too.
But once again, how far do you go on something without approval?
Right, exactly.
And that's why I think we brought this up, is what are our spending limits? And granted, I think Rainey was more concerned about, what can they buy in the office without.
Well, with spending limits, do the office personnel have any spending limits or no?
According to this, no.
Yeah, see, they should.
Like I
have-
said, which is kind of foolish which is very foolish because, like I said, if you need paper, you need pens, you need
We ordered
whatever.
office supplies today, paper,
Yeah.
and a couple other things.
And you never get approval back because it's what you need, it's stuff you use, This was more or less for, stuff outside the norm.
Well, you ain't gonna go order a new $30,000 copier or $100,000 computer system without coming to us.
Right.
That kind of stuff, I can see it's gotta come to us, but why do we have to do it everyday stuff,
I agree.
I just don't get it.
Well, because at the time, there were issues, that's why it got this way.
But as long as it comes out before the meeting when we do this, we're responsible for what we authorize, and it comes before the board, and everybody knows that. If we do a $1,500 limit on it, if you approve it, okay, you explain yourself to the board, then, there's probably not much we can do
I
about it.
disagree with you.
But if we micromanage, we're just saying,
Well, and like I said, I just said, there are certain things that you need, that you just get,
Right.
It is what it is.
if there's a water leak, you gotta fix the water leak.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think it would be unreasonable to have a $500 limit for the office.
You're talking about for things other than normal office supplies?
I mean, if there's
Like what they
something
need,
come up,
well,
what would come up?
I don't know.
Well, I just ordered AED pads for the Memorial Hall. That was a couple $100 on the expense report that you just saw. Doesn't allow call, they said they're expired. I'm like, okay, we went and got them ordered.
I mean,
Yeah.
And there's no question about
Hey,
that.
they're running. I didn't hesitate, because I'm like, well, they're not gonna tell me no.
And see, that would be a thing that's not normal to get. So, yeah, I would have no problem going up to 5.
Not normal to get, but it's mandatory.
Yeah, I know, but it's not every day.
Right.
And that's a good example, so.
Or if there's,
what I'm saying is, the people we have in place now, I feel is, that's not.
That was another issue, that staffing was an issue at one point, so.
because if you have something in the water treatment plant, you might have to order it, even if it's just a chemical or something, you know, because it's out of the normal or something didn't meet spec, but we gotta get it cleaned and
Well,
done.
but once again, that falls under, you know, an emergency thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, under that, whoever has the portfolio is responsible for it, and, you know,
Well, that's like, it's the $1,500,
Yeah.
and then it's the portfolio holder and the resident, so, yeah.
yeah.
So we can change whatever you guys want to change here. So. But I think that $500 would be fine.
So we change it to having commission and office staff limited 500. Is that correct?
No, I think commission should be
Right.
higher, I believe.
We're at 250 right now, right?
Yeah, that's portfolio holder, but I think that might have been, that might have been, I'm not sure.
For the 1,500?
No, for the 250.
I think we should go with 1,500 and revisit it if we have problems
100 for what?
for the portfolio. Like I said, otherwise we're in trouble for the truck that was just done. We've already broken our own rule.
Yeah, you guys are already in trouble.
Always.
Pay for it?
Yep, there you go. Let's cut it back off and spend another 3.
I'll take the blame on that one.
No,
We had to get it done.
we need to
We
get
got a
it done,
tender
but
coming and
we
get
need
it horsed
to,
around and get
and
it-
we saved the money on the spreader too. So it wasn't,
Okay, we're getting way
Yeah.
off base here now, but
Yeah.
doesn't matter if we take money on spreader. Different issue. So what do you want to do? So what you're saying is you want to go, commissioners have the $1,500
right,
on their own.
yep, and then they have to report to the commission when the bills come in.
What I
The
would-
reason why you did it.
What I would suggest is, just to start $500 for the office staff, and for each portfolio holder, 2,000. With a, you know, if I had to purchase something for 2,000, at least call somebody else, talk to that person, if they're in agreement, then do it. You know, if it's more than that, then it has to come to the commissioner's group. That way, one single person can't.
Right, that's a good idea.
I think that's actually how we had it before, because I know Keith and I had to doubly agree on something in the past when it was purchased outside of, you know, being
Like how far ago? Well, since 2015, it's been the portfolio holder plus the president. And that's for, you know, like I said, that was for change orders and emergency situations. So we're going to take that out of there. And you want to do 2,000 for a portfolio holder or at least 2 commissioners. And $500 for the, not only office, but also the,
I mean, if we'll take an emergency one out, though, if, you know, Brian, you know, all of a sudden he's gotta go buy some poor battery for the board, you know, that's, whatever, you know, big thing. Get by battery, but
you did take the emergency out of there?
Well, was that with the change orders and stuff like that, I wouldn't take that out of there, because that's all part of the project. You know, you want to add to this, add to it, but don't take it out.
Okay.
Because that's part of the street projects and all this stuff, that's why we did this, we didn't have to have special meetings.
Right.
Just to cover $800 pipe or something like that.
Right.
That's what we did. If nothing else, we could raise that up to 2,000, put your other 2,000 in there and do the 500 for the office. But I wouldn't take that out. I mean, it's not like we're not gonna do projects anymore,
Right.
or the city won't, you know. But
Yeah, well, I think it's important, yeah. But I guess if you've got 2,000 that, you know, 2 commissioners can approve, then why do you need the other one? Because it would fall under there.
Well, the one's for the portfolio on the projects and change orders. The other one that we're talking about is if we need a leaf blower, we can go buy a leaf blower. Right?
Yeah,
and bumper stuff. That's
Yeah.
what they're wanting to do.
right.
The other one's for the projects at hand that are going on.
Oh, that's true.
And that one was a portfolio holder of the streets or of street water sewer, whatever that, and you and Larry or whatever. You get with the president, you guys make the okay, yep, we'll do it, and change orders, fine. So we don't have to have a special meeting.
Sure.
Just to have everybody come in here, that's
Right.
what that was set up for.
Okay. But then raise that up to 2,000 also, is what you're saying?
I wouldn't go any lower, I don't see things getting any cheaper in the future, unless you're gonna cut your steak dinners out every night. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't,
Well, I think we're gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna suggest 2,500 for change orders and emergency situations. And that would be between the portfolio holder and the president. And then we'll go 2,000 for, commission, what's the word, discretion, but they have to have 2 commissioners in agreement. And then 500 for the staff. Can send on whatever, I like it has to go to the commission. Those like the outside 2 commissioners. That's
great.
my motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Randy, you got all that?
And maybe feel that's a good dollar amount, that's 100 for the office.
Yeah, I mean, for, so.
Right.
I'm not seeing anything. The only thing that I've seen is where they talk about our monthly bills. There's been discussion about if there's already approval for those that are withheld and they're being, electronically done,
Right.
that kind of stuff. But we already have that.
Okay, Colin?
Yes.
Kip?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Yes. So you'll send us out an email on that, just a reminder?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
On the electronic bills, you're saying?
No, on
On
what our spending
social.
limits.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And explain what we just
Okay.
said in normal terms.
I'll try.
Memorial Hall water damage lower kitchen. Friday, Chris Trustic and I went over there, and we started looking. And behind the door that goes into the kitchen, there's a counter there, and there was a water line under there that was leaking. And it looks like it's been leaking for years. And you'd have about a drip every minute. And if you multiply that times years, that's a lot of water.
Mhm.
So I fixed it, and I went over there today, and it's high. Because I had the fan blowing, but I'm going to check tomorrow, again, to see, that hopefully, that is our problem.
But when I talked to the Legion, they've had water problems for years.
In the
Leaking
kitchen?
in,
In the kitchen?
leaking in there.
I'm not talking about the kitchen, that's what I said, kitchen here,
Okay.
I know, I understand that part too. And we can move on to that, but I'm talking about the
Okay.
kitchen right now.
Yes,
So-
because we're not sure where that's coming, or we weren't sure. We'll find out, because that should be fixed then.
But, well, I don't know how, but that should be fixed. Like I said, we'll keep checking it to make sure. Okay. Now, and you said the other part, that's been leaking forever, and we have dug down and we have filled that side of the building. We have put gutters on, we have put extensions on there, and I don't know.
Right. We don't know if it's condensation or if it's just groundwater.
I don't think it's condensation.
I don't think so either, but I don't know what it is. But that's why we're talking about drilling a couple little wells down the side, just to see where the water's coming from.
Right. Well, one might by the window,
Right.
and where you found that.
Right, and that might
So
take care of
And that took care of the water. In that position.
Right.
Now, is there something else somewhere
Right.
else? No.
Right.
Okay, Chris originally came to me and he said we were going to drill one in that corner of the building, one in that corner of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, no. First of all, it's got to be approved. And then that's when we went over and looked, so.
Right, but if do we have groundwater in there?
Well, the thing is, if we had groundwater, we went to where the water meter comes in, there's no water there. And that's lower than,
No, but you can get groundwater down the side of the buildings, right? Running off the roof. That's why that green pipe's in there, right? On the east side? What's that green pipe doing underground there?
that goes to that window well. on the east side.
Because of,
Well, so
Water.
when water got in
so
there, you
when
could
water
run out.
gets in there.
You could run out.
And is there one in the back window well where the kitchen is?
Where would it go?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
No.
Where does that water that goes in that window well go? Just in the ground? Right?
No.
Well,
Certainly.
that's, you know,
Yeah,
that's why we're wondering if there's,
but that doesn't affect the Legion room.
right, 'cause there's Boy Scouts that complain about water too, right?
Mm-hmm.
There has been water in the Boy Scouts room, we've gone in to get archery stuff out.
So,
Where at?
A little bit. So there's a storage room in the back, it's before that little storage room.
Talking about in the front of the building?
It's probably 10 feet from the door to that little storage room
Okay.
in the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
It wasn't ever in the storage room, but there was a little bit on the floor a couple of
Okay.
That was overhead from the bathrooms upstairs.
Was it? Okay. Okay.
The stuff that's coming up in the Legion back of that closet on the backside, a lot of times when it really gets a lot of water, it'll go down the gutters in front of the building, climb up over onto the sidewalk, and then it comes down in between the building and actually, I think, underneath the cement itself of the curb. Okay, because all of a sudden you'll walk down that Legion door on the north side and you'll look and you're going, well, put it on the side of the wall and there's no window wells or anything there. It made its way across the corridor there and right into their building. Right into their room back there.
Right.
so,
Well, I mean, we definitely need to fix it somehow, I'm not sure how.
yeah, and we just need to know where it's coming from.
Well, right.
Well, they don't have dirt away from that wall to seal it, then is there any water in the hole there? Or does it leak out that
That was a long time ago, and we were working it, yeah, and it was what, 25 years ago?
Probably pretty close.
Yeah, and no, there was no water then.
When you pulled up the street in the back to pave it or fix it, was there water back there?
Yeah, that Legion room's been leaking for ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we tried so many things. It's,
Well, Mike Lester sealed up in the front and falls part of the front of the building. And then certain rains, that's where I think some of it came down in, but he got that up there and he got it. But if there's a driving rain from a certain direction, it's just like it goes right into the brick. Any place there's a crack or something, or crawls up on that curb line and into the building. But there's certain rains that whatever he did, it stopped it.
you know,
Because, I want to get it done before we do try to fix in between the buildings where all the water's running in.
Hmm.
Because fix that, then go back and if we have to put tile or something in, or drain into
Right.
a small pit to drain out of
Right,
there.
yeah.
I don't want to do it backwards.
Oh, right,
The
well,
whole-
exactly, right.
That's,
Oh, absolutely, that makes sense. Okay. Any other else on that? Boy Scout room.
So the Boy Scout room, you saw a couple pictures. We were hoping that we could get to that room to kind of clean it out for fall cleanup, but we did a little bit of research, but we have kind of got busy with other things. So there is no current Boy Scout troop, I guess, in Washburn. We've called to a couple of past, what they call den leaders. And so then we called the district, or Jackie called the district, and they said, because they would not take it, but whoever sponsored, started out with the Boy Scouts would be, then it would be their property. So, as our understanding, that would be the Lions. So, I talked to David Lindell today, so how do we go about getting this area cleaned up, getting this property taken out of this room, hopefully first thing, cleaned up. And he said, should contact the Lions, see if they want it, and then if they don't want it, they can do additional steps to either, they might have to go back to unsigned property, or they might have to, sell it. So, I want to give you up to date on kind of where we're at with that, and then kind of permission to maybe proceed with getting that.
I do have a question. When Boy Scouts were in there, they had given the archery club permission to keep our stuff. We have our archery equipment in the little storage room. I just wanted to check, is that okay if we continue to leave that there? Where we're having practices, it's just a lot easier for us where we don't have to store it in someone's garage and transport it to and from the Memorial Hall.
Well, I think once we get it cleaned out, we can, I mean, definitely, for now, I would say, yeah, I mean, leave it in there for now, and then, I mean, if something else were to go into there, you know, for a use, maybe we could find you another spot down there or something, but, I mean, I don't see a problem storing it in the hall, right, everybody? I mean, yeah, yeah.
Just so we keep track of it, whose it is
Right.
and who's responsible for it, that's all we need.
It's all marked, it all has McLean County 4-H written, North Dakota Shooting
Yeah.
Sports written on all the stuff.
Yeah, we've got a lot of rooms down there, so, yeah, I mean, if not there somewhere.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, so
Some of
do
it
we?
may be in some of those pictures, I don't know for sure.
There's a couple targets and some stands
Yeah,
there.
there's 4 targets and 4.
Do we need a motion to proceed with this?
I think it'd be nice, just so that we can continue with what we're doing. We're okay with all of that.
Okay, what kind of motion?
I'm wondering too if it could be given to another Boy Scout troop. I know there's one up in Turtle Lake. I'm wondering if it's like something that, yeah, if it's unclaimed after a certain amount of time, can it be donated to another troop?
That's what we could research. I mean, we're going to proceed to see, just to get that area cleaned up and move forward with whatever needs to be, so we can continue to keep you updated as far as what we find out. Okay, so we have the authority to proceeding.
Okay, I'll move that we, that we always proceed with, disposing of, for lack of a better term, the, Boy Scout stuff, you know, in the legal matter.
Second.
Any other discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Kip?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Yes. Well, key fob system.
So this is something that Jackie has gotten a couple, quotes on, just because the key situation is, I don't know how to describe it, but, so the couple bids that you see, or quotes that she's gotten is from that Great Plains, which is what we used here at the city building. So it's the same system, so we could tap into that same carry system. So the first quote that you have there is for what they call a 2-panel key card system. So the city here has a 2-panel system, and we've got 1 door, so we can expand to 1 other door. So she asked for a quote for a 2-panel. So this is for the front double doors, just a 2-panel. So then it would be full. You would not be able to expand on that panel because it'd be full. So that's the $5,325. So you can see it's the card, the reader, for the double doors and the installation. So that's that $5,325. The next quote she asked for was a 4-panel, so that you could expand to do the 2 back doors or 2 other doors, because there would be slots available to expand on. So that is added an additional $1,000. So this system, you would be able to program it so that the doors were open for a certain amount of times, whatever you programmed in. You would give fobs to people, just like what you have on here. So if somebody rented it from 7 to 9, you'd activate their fob from 7 to 9. It's activated. If they lost the fob, you could deactivate it right away. And then you could also, at some point, say, if you lose your fob, you don't try it back in, there's a deposit or whatever. You can manage it already. So we got 2 different quotes there for that, so that you can have control over the access to those front doors. Anything Jackie, in that?
Would they be fobs or cards?
We can do either.
Oh,
We
okay.
can get the Bob both.
Okay.
So if you were using the whole, you don't limit the time to do this, or?
The So if you rented it for Saturday noon to midnight, your phone would be active from noon to midnight.
So you just have to stay at the time you wanted to.
Right.
But you can leave and come back, would it?
Right, yep,
It would still be locked if you, okay.
yep.
You could always get out. but you might
Right.
Not be able to come back.
And you could always go back
In a
in.
perfect world, I'd never get out of it.
That's right.
So you can go back and forth and,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But we could also program it for like the walkers. It's gonna automatically open at 8 AM and automatically close at 3:15. So if, nobody would have to go over there, it'd be automatically open and locked, because you could program that.
Because when I do an event there in the past, I will stay till like 2 in the morning. So I'd have to be able to, and then maybe come back at 8 or whatever, so.
Right.
Just wanted to make sure it was accessible, so whatever you needed, but, yeah.
You just have to let us know, whoever knows, and then they program that into that phone or that card.
Your situation, you'd probably have it
For
covered
2
for
days.
2 to 3 days,
And
The
you
whole
could come
weekend.
anytime you wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Come and go,
Yeah.
way I understand.
Okay.
And this comes with pops, I think I asked you that the other day.
Yeah, and was it 10 or 15 came with it, and then I can't
Yeah,
remember.
15, you said.
Any of those are dirt cheap. They're minimal.
Because we were thinking if the kitchen upgraded, that way they can control who goes into that kitchen. If they want to put, a lock on that one. That way you rent the deal, that's all you get. You don't go wandering around every place else.
We've not gotten quotes for
No, but,
additional doors.
right, but you said if you do the Ford card, you could just do that whole east room where it'd be locked up for the
You wouldn't
kitchen.
be able to get into any of the rooms that hold things in there, like the divider, for example. Would you be able to get into that room?
So the spots would only be, for these two quotes right here, is only the front door.
Okay. You
So if we wanted to expand and do some other doors,
Or
we'd
you
have
have
to
to
get quotes.
keep it.
Right.
That way we could expand it if we needed to.
Well, yeah, but the four-door key card is, the one, that's good for 4 spots. Now if you expanded it, you have to find the system, or can you go like a 6 doors somewhere?
So
That's the question.
They really only come in 2 and 4.
I see.
And he said a lot of those big businesses that do it, they just put in multiple ports. It's
Oh, I see,
not
okay.
really like it's a big thing.
Oh,
We have the one in the back room here, it's just a small little unit.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not like it's a,
okay.
big thing.
But that way they could program everything if somebody wanted to use a kitchen.
Down the road, if you put
Down,
that in.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
down the road, right?
Right, but I mean, you're not going to want to have walkers come in and everything be open to the new kitchen. See what I'm saying?
Well, they'll just lock you with that door right there.
Well, they're going to remodel all that.
Well, they're still gonna have a door to get in there from the inside.
Right,
They'll just lock it with a regular key.
yeah, well,
I don't know what
yeah.
would be wrong with that. This is for access in and out.
Because once you're in the building, if you need a kitchen, you should be able to get a key, for that. No way it's controlled better or not.
Well, that's the problem with keys now. Everybody has a key.
Oh, really? I want one.
Yeah, but the key to get in the building, but how many have the key for them doors and the kitchen up there, though?
I don't know.
That's, I don't know.
Yeah, we really need to go through the keys, and that's on the list of things to do, is to go through that cabinet of keys and clean it up, figure them out, because there's lots of stuff hanging in there, we don't know what they're for.
Well, maybe just throw away the keys and go over there and redo locks, just start fresh.
Well, that's expensive.
It's, yeah, so
A
it's
little,
trying to research.
no, the inside,
Inside, yeah.
that ain't that expensive.
It wouldn't be that bad.
Either $10 or $5 a piece.
No, maybe a little more than that. But you want to put a good one in there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And the funds we have left in our,
The other thing is, too, that, you need internet access or a bridge. So, like, as I, the American Legion, that Larry was looking at requesting internet service for that building.
yeah, there are things, on this whole kitchen project, the whole sound system, and the kitchen and everything, to make the space more useful for everybody. And that was going to be one thing that they were going to request to, is, get internet initially, and actually bring in more functions and all that stuff, so.
I know it was something we talked about like 2 years ago, but it got voted down.
Right.
Larry, didn't Lamar wire that in when Rachel was over there for that? The internet?
Maybe.
I think they did. Maybe they took it out.
Well, it would all have to be rewired anyway.
Well, yeah,
because
now
it's all
it's-
different, but, yeah.
Well, didn't they put the fiber optic in there?
They did now, I think. They're
Yeah,
gonna-
Yeah, and then it's just putting that box in there, right?
Right.
I would believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
But we can deal with the internet, but let's do this one first.
Well, I know we had some budgeted this year for new chairs in here that was not spent.
That's true.
If I remember correctly, wasn't that 6,500?
I don't remember, Jackie, do you remember? I don't
It was
remember.
close to that, I think.
Something like that. But that would free up Rainey's and Jackie's time, and their time is important, if we can program this stuff.
Well, it'll cut down a lot of excess keys floating around.
Right,
We don't know who
mhm.
has access to the building.
Right.
The only thing I see is like the school, I mean, they have a key. I don't know if they just get a fob for all the time or how that would work.
But it can be, each fob can be programmed, so
Yeah,
if you program to the school, they can access it anytime they want.
right.
But you can set parameters, who you
Yeah.
want, when.
And the nice thing about this, you can see who's going in now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it wouldn't be hurt if you do the front door to have also key the storage room for mops and stuff. Rather than giving them a separate key. That could go along with the front door. I don't know. That's a guess. Everybody-
Never gotten a key to the
storage room.
box,
Yeah.
or the things like that. When we have the building,
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, not now, but if we do, these other, like the kitchen, they can program that into the key fob. So if you program the front door and the kitchen at the same time, that's what they have access to. See what I'm saying? I don't mean that we have to do it now, but
Yeah, exactly.
it'd be so much easier to do it at that time.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion to go with the 4 system unit.
Okay.
Well, for future expansion, it's gonna save us in the long run.
Mhm.
Okay.
I second that.
Any other discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Mike?
Aye.
Well, yes.
Now, the internet.
One thing too, I just thought of, did you ever check on,
No, we haven't.
I had a concern with safety for the office personnel, that, sometimes Rainey's working late or whatever, and she locks these doors. There's a fire, there's no way out, because it's a deadbolt lock.
Mhm.
So I suggested looking at getting an estimate to whatever, to get like a panic bar that it can be locked, but if you need to get out, you just push the lever and get out.
Back to us, crash bar.
But if the fire's in between where she's at,
I'm just saying.
So,
Just saying.
It's, something that's just, nobody's ever given a second thought, but,
Yeah, get a price on it.
so.
Yeah. Okay.
now the internet, because the key fob won't work without the internet, we need to make a motion to get internet for the Memorial Hall.
We're gonna check with the Legion.
Well, it's our building. I think we need to do some stuff rather than them. But it wouldn't hurt to check between Midco and West River and then come back with prices for next meeting.
Everybody has Midco, right, for the internet? So they might do a better deal.
Pricing profile.
Okay. And then we'll have that for next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's long.
$5,000. So that's what you have in front of you. So they could do both audits at the same time to save us some costs. Then we'd have 2 years done and we'd be current.
That's gonna save us some money, absolutely. I think that's a good thing.
Did we budget quite a bit for the audit for 2019 in that budget year?
I got to look what I had, but yeah, I want to say it was quite substantial.
Yeah, it was like 18,000.
Yeah, just for the one through that other company, I think, for Ed.
Well, we got, for this year and for next year, so yeah. So I'll move that we go with the 2-year audit with the state. For, estimated 23 to 25,000.
I'll second.
Discussion? Colin?
Yes.
Kip?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
No. Yes. Hannah, you're up.
I'm going to share with you why I'm saying with you. Take one, pass it down. So in the last few months, as economic development has been discussed in the community,
Thank you.
my board and I have decided that we probably haven't done as good of a job as we could have in keeping everyone updated as to what WIETA and economic development have going on. Because, there's been comments that, well, they don't do anything, what do they do for us? And it's, I guess, again, we haven't done the best job in keeping everybody updated and all the things. We've just been doing things and handling things rather than telling everybody what we're doing. So you guys have probably seen more emails coming to you, letting you guys know about grants that are out there, but also on a monthly basis, I will be doing this monthly activity report and bringing it to the meeting just so you guys see on a monthly basis as well we have going on. So highlights for this month is our website. We did some analytics, and actually the people that are hitting our website in the short period of time we've had it up has been actually very good. So that means that they're actually going to the website, looking at the website, staying on the website, and the number of people that have actually been on the website as of yesterday was 550. So that's quite a few people. We're starting to do a newsletter that will come with the website. It's a sign-up that you do on the website, so look for that to come here in the near future. Partners in Marketing Grant, I applied for a grant. The total project was $21,470, and it's all about maintaining our marketing and branding momentum, along with the strategic planning, but it's all about workforce recruitment, community betterment, and so forth. So in doing so, we had already received the lodging tax amount of $4,000, and then WIETA had kicked in the $2,441 from our golf tournament. That was the match that we needed for the Partners in Marketing. So we were awarded from the Department of Commerce $15,029. So.
I have a question. Does that include like the flyers that go out to like the rest areas and stuff?
That is in the $4,000 lodging tax.
Okay. I went to Fargo last week, and I stopped at 2 different rest areas. There's nothing with Washburn in either one.
That's because the sign up for it, I just received the information in the mail, and I'll start that as of January 1st.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yep.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong. So.
Yep, they have to fulfill this year's programming, and then they'll go forward. But, yeah.
And I know you haven't had them that long. I just
Yep.
wanted to get an update. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Community and economic development, just these are the projects that we're working on. We've already talked about the courthouse and the couple of grants that could be applied for, and you'll see the arrow there is the status on it, and then the colored asterisks are what grants can be applied. And I think is this, if you guys are interested at all, these are all the grants and loan opportunities funding for North Dakota. It's on the Main Street North Dakota website. So if you're thinking of, I have a project that entails whatever, you can go on the website and literally it's all
laid out, in categories. So, great resource if we need to look at something. Memorial building basement, if we design it something like that water leak got taken care of, so that one could probably be crossed out. That's number 2. McLean County implements, with them being up with Napa, in the Napa building there, they're asking for some help finding about $40,000 to purchase some lifts that actually literally lift up a semi. They're going to be applying for the WIEDO revolving loan, and then they'll probably be going to the USDA at a 0% and apply for a loan there. I can give a 0% loan. Olafson Farms, it's the garden down at the end of Main Avenue. They are looking to apply for an APUC grant through the Department of Commerce, and what that is, it's a garden-to-table agriculture grant, but they would apply for that APUC grant, and they could expand their garden that they have there. They could purchase some kitchen equipment and so forth for cleaning. But anyway, so that's something we've been working on. And then there's a couple area business opportunities, a trade business, which is purchasing a current business here in town. He's going to be applying for a revolving loan also from WIEDA for his down payment for the purchase of his business. So been working through that. And then there's a catering and event planning business here in town that is organizing and looking for a resource for capital also. And then as you see on the bottom, there's different community events that are coming up. Larry, I'm sad that you can't be in tomorrow's class with Mrs. Gedrose and Michelle Efforts.
What grade is that?
You know, I think
Curious.
it's sophomore. I think it's her sophomore, as we would know, at home ec class.
Yeah.
But Michelle is going in and teaching that leadership class.
Okay.
So I did find more people that are on different boards that would be willing to do that. Small Business Saturday, we talked about that. The Dale News Tax meeting is on the 3rd. We are planning a ladies' night out on December 5th. More details to come on that. Some of the local businesses are going to stay open a little bit later and cater to some of the women's things in town. Anyway, so that's December 5th and Santa. But something else I didn't have on there was on 19th of November, Clint Hill, that reception, governor's reception is at 1 o'clock. Okay. You got the invite? Okay. So that's something, it is open to the public. They are asking for RSVPs, so not every day you get something like that happening in our small town.
Is that the interpretive center?
Yep. And then on the bottom here, it says the next WIEDA meeting is on the 10th. It's actually on the 17th. So any questions for me?
Don't believe so.
Do you like the format?
Did we?
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Coal Conversion Counties membership.
So we've gotten a request for membership for the Coal Conversion Counties. The city was a member in 13, 14, and 15, but not since then. It's $400 for the 2018-2019 year.
Before we figured, other commissions, we figured, why? You know, it's just another, we really don't get much out of it, so. We never went with it.
Do we want to discuss like what they say they're going to do, or like what it actually is? Because I don't know.
This is all I got. There was nothing else with it.
Okay.
So I believe Brad sits on that committee.
Brad,
Rena.
how does he?
Because I've seen emails
He
from
does.
him. Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Superintendents in the area.
I'm gonna say no, that's my opinion, but
Hannah, do you know anything more about that? What it actually?
It was just in the newspaper. And what do you want to know about it?
Like, would we have any benefit to having the membership? 'Cause I really don't know anything about it.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I can research it.
We can,
I'm just thinking, it gives us maybe more, maybe 6 more grants that the town might can look into. I mean, why not?
right. Well, I think it's,
I mean,
you know, we discussed on this, you know, in years past, you know, I don't know if you remember, but we decided, you know, we really get nothing from it, but we can postpone it, that's fine. Okay. Delinquent water bills collections.
Okay, so you've seen an updated listing.
Letter.
So we sent out 46 certified letters. And so Jackie's created a spreadsheet, so she gave it to me yesterday after getting the deposit for today. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 paid in full, so that's good. Some of them, we've got a couple on payment plan. We've got some certified mail that's been returned to us, so we'll have to research a little bit more, dig into those a little bit more to figure out what to do with those. And then we've had a few before where the renter was returned, but the owner received the certified letter, so they've been notified. So this week is the 15th, so on Friday will be a day where we send the guy out if we don't have payment. So just so that you're aware, so that you're on board.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. Hey, I put this on your snow hauling bids. Since we have 3 different people that are interested in snow hauling, and last year I got bugged about how come you always get one person and not offer to somebody else. I would like to ask them for snow hauling bids for one whole small Main Street. And that way, that's what we will do.
Speaking of that, talking about that, you ever noticed when Bismarck lately, when you're going through the south side, north side of the world, you look off to the east, there's all that oil-filled equipment laying over there?
Yeah.
Did you see them 2 blowing machines sitting there?
I did.
I think we need to go investigate them.
Okay.
Yeah, hook your motor right up to your front end loader, just like what Trespass says.
Really?
So why not get our own? There's 2 of them sitting there. I think we should look at them.
That's a good idea.
I mean, we can get one for reasonably priced. We gotta do a little work to it, so be it.
Right.
Then we got one.
Yeah, I think it's definitely pays to look at.
Then we don't have to worry about snow removal. We got our own.
Well, this is just for
truck.
hauling, just for the trucking of the snow off Main Street.
Well, we got our own truck, don't we?
Yeah, but if we use one truck when we get a lot of snow, it's gonna take them 3-4 days to haul it off. You know.
Takes them forever over in Hazen to haul all that stuff, but they do all their streets. And then when they use the big blowers like that, the manholes start coming flying out and shooting down the streets and,
Well, but the blower wouldn't be for like Main Street, it would be for like other areas. You know.
well, that's the quickest to do Main Street is to blade it up and blow it in the trucks and away you go.
Well, I mean, you can do that,
Well, that's the quickest,
yeah,
but,
but you still need people to haul it,
right.
you know.
But we need to look into it, but a lot of those old machines are tough to get parts for those engines.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll look at it
Yeah,
first.
right,
You know,
exactly.
yeah, but this is about, you know, bids for hauling snow off Main. Is that okay with everybody to get bids on that, or?
Do you have some specifications to go along with that?
Yeah, when are they
Just to
available?
make sure that, you know, you're comparing apples to apples with everything?
Well,
You
Yeah,
know,
let's get like the
what I'm getting
yard
at is, you get some guy that's bidding it, and he's got, you know, just throwing a number, but $5,000 of liability insurance, and the next guy's
I mean, it's like hiring any contractor, you know,
Yeah.
well, we load it, so they have to do it. You know, they don't get a loader, it's just a truck, just hauling. You know, we have 3 people in town, we have traffic, we have, Nancy, and we have, money. You know, so, I mean, obviously, they would have to do it when we want to do it. They would have to be available. That way they can't say, oh, you're favoring one person over another. So we will do that. Okay, I'll move that we send out a letter to get bids for snow removal. Snow hauling, excuse me.
Where does snow get hauled to?
On the side of the tracks.
Sorry.
Boat talk.
I'm just trying to think, we probably have to have some standard questions, so like on the form, like how many yards per load and how many cents per mile or whatever,
It's by the hour.
or by the hour, okay.
It's hourly rate, yes.
Because we want to know how many yards per load though too, because if they can haul more loads and they're at a cheaper rate, I mean, obviously we're getting one thing for our buck, right?
Well, they all 3 have tandem trucks, so they're pretty much the same,
Okay,
you know.
Yeah, it's volume, not weight,
So, exactly.
okay.
but it's how, you know, if they're responsible and show up when we ask, that's going to be the key.
Well, yeah, if
Yeah,
they
that-
don't,
that-
then they're cut off.
Well, that's what we need to put right in the letter, that if they say, no, I got something else going today, no, if you get the bid, you're there when we say.
Well,
But you can't just come in here tomorrow morning and say, okay, you gotta be here by 8:15, we're gonna haul snow.
they generally know when we're gonna.
I don't, but I'm just saying, you can't expect them to come in one day and call within 2 hours and say, I gotta have you here in a half an hour.
What do now?
Well, they can't do it, we move to the next one.
I mean, obviously, you know, I mean, it's not like it's something we've never done before. They know the drill, you know. We're just getting bids for that. Everybody can say it's fair. And that's
I get another 2?
what it can. That's all we do. Okay. How about
We might get every farmer there ever was.
Well, I was thinking we might have some
Right.
farmers that wouldn't mind, making some money in the
They can't come in
winter.
and haul commercially with farm plates.
There you go. All right, we're gonna vote now. Come on.
We have rose
Yes.
colored glasses.
Okay.
Yes.
Mike.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Yeah.
What was that,
Thank you.
I said we have rose colored glasses.
No, I don't.
We all have CDL and can switch places.
If I gotta pay it, they should.
Portfolios, Colin.
What was it about?
Maybe click
Larry and I met with, Eric and Jasper last week?
Yep.
Thursday, Wednesday, I don't remember, about the, and maybe we were gonna talk about that here,
Yep.
so.
If you want me to come up
Why
now,
don't you come up
whatever.
and,
No, let's get our portfolios done first.
well, it's just part of the portfolio, isn't it?
Well, let's wait under him. Because we have more than one thing to talk about with him. So that's why we wait,
Okay.
okay?
He's not on
If that's okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't see him on here, that's why I
I didn't really
thought,
list him there, so
What?
sorry.
that's why I thought maybe you put.
I haven't read that part
portfolios.
down yet.
Can everybody write that in?
Okay, Kip,
nothing.
Mike,
I'm good.
no,
Colin and I will be working on, the reviews, evaluations in the very near future.
Okay.
So
Did you get everybody's reviews? Rainey forwarded them to you? Or the questionnaires that
I
you
got yours, yep.
Okay.
You done?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know, quite where this fits in, but, you know, on Halloween, my corner up there, it's actually by my corner, but it is so dark up there. I think there should be a street light up there. You know how dark it is up there.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
It is terrible. Yeah. And I was gonna bring it up last year, but I forgot. But, yeah, especially on Halloween, all those kids, man, if I know what we got running over. Can you check, Randy, can you check and see what it would take to get a street light up there? I think that's already up there.
There might be something available for the grant. And it's right by the school, so it makes sense.
It's right on the corner of the baseball field.
Yep.
That one has.
No, it's not on the corner of the baseball field.
Which other corner is that?
No, it's actually in.
Oh.
There is one at the
Ivy
corner.
Drive?
Huh?
On the end of Ivy Drive there?
Yeah, it's kind of where Ivy Drive and Garden Drive meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Eric.
I will point you guys to this map first.
Give me one.
Thought I did.
No, yeah.
I'll stay with Mike then.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know. Here, come here.
Okay, so
I have one of these at home right now.
It's on my phone.
we did that bathymetric survey update back on October 23rd, and I'll point out some things on this. This is a simplified version of some of the products we produced, if you believe me on that. So you'll see a lot of stuff on there. The green color is fill, where the river filled from last year's survey to this year's survey. We did a survey in July of 2017, and we did another one a couple weeks ago. The red area is where the river experience cut. The gray area is where it stayed about the same. So there's one profile view that I have on the bottom there, and that lines right up where we had proposed to put a new intake, and you can see the bold line that cuts across the river from bank to bank. That's a profile in that spot. So you can see that the middle of the river, generally where all the green areas, it experienced a lot of fill, up to over 11 feet in some areas. The red area experienced an even more extreme cuts, up to 15 feet in some areas. 2018 was, in the last 50 years, the second highest flows that the Missouri River has experienced below the Garrison Dam. Second only to 2011, which is not that long ago. So, and I have some stats on that too that I pulled from the Corps website that I can show you. But we had high river flows sustained for many months, and that's what contributed to the river changing as much as it has. And the moral of the story is the way that we have the intake project designed right now is not feasible for us to construct it. You can see on the cross-section on the bottom of the page in the green, it shows the proposed intake, where it's at. And right now there's a big sandbar there, and it's a very large sandbar. Now, I was out in the hallway here throughout the meeting, and we have some of our products up on the wall, and we had a product developed for the site selection, and one of those big billboards out there shows all the advantages and disadvantages of why we chose to do what we did, the site that was selected. And the site that was selected was the north side of the river, the city side of the river, which is closer to the water plant, which is closer to the pump house, and it was considerably more cost-effective to build it on that side versus building it on the south side of the river. So, and there's other, I mean, I invite all you guys to go take a look at it. I know we developed reports for the evaluation of intakes and for the site selection. And I know that I forwarded those to Colin and Mike because you guys weren't around when we did those. You know, what I can say is things have changed quite a bit in the last year. The other thing that I can point to you is the historic river channel where it has been. And there's 3 main spots where we can see that it's been. Now on those maps on the wall, it shows where the river channel has been. Last year, the main river channel wasn't near the middle of the river. It was the 3 lines that you see, is the 2 on the top. The one on the top and the one in the middle is where the river channel was, the main river channel. There's always been a river channel, a deeper channel on the south side of the river as well. And we looked at that as a close second option. And the reason we didn't go that way was mainly because of cost. Is a higher price to build over there. That's what we have for the bathymetric survey update. Is there any questions on anything that you guys see there, or anything that we've done so far?
Since I'm trying to familiarize, your site 2 on the south side, was that hooking the pipeline to the bridge through DOT and bringing it across? Or was that underneath?
That, when we looked at the option, it would have been boring a line underneath, building a pump house on the south side, and boring a return line out back over to the water plant.
Now, if we did that, could you have multiple places in the river to draw out of and have them capped? Like you said, you had a T now, and when the water went too low, you took the cap off the T to draw water off this here. Is there something like that that could be done if we bored underneath and we're able, as the river changed, uncap certain ones if we know where they're at? And put an intake screen on them.
If we're going to be boring a line underneath the river, that would be pretty tough to do something like that. If you wanted to put 2 separate lines to a new pump house, a new wet well case on, that'd probably be an easier option. But that would drive costs up because you're going to have 2 intake screens, 2 cribs, and 2 lines to a wet well.
Yeah, because I'm worried about who knows what this river is ever going to do.
Right. And the good thing is, you know, a couple months ago, I don't know if I talked to you guys about it last month, but we had issues with our existing intake. You know, we had such high flows, and they just started bringing the flows down. We had flows around 50,000 cubic feet per second down the river at its peak this year. When they started dropping that, we had that sand deposit on our intake. And we had to have a diver go out there and kind of clear that. And we had, like you said, we put up a pipe closer to the bank, and we were able to still draw water. Well, when they kept bringing the flow down, all that sand that was on top of our stream was carried away. So you can see that on the north side, there wasn't much net change from July 2017 to October of this year. So there may have been sandbars in there, there may have been more fill in there, but as of October 23rd, when we did the survey, it was about equal. So.
You're talking on the existing?
On the existing, yes. Yep. Now, I haven't looked at the river out here since I was here for the survey. I was out there with JW when we collected all the data on the river. And there was a sandbar, you know, just upriver from the bridge. I'm guessing that's still there. Have you guys seen that grow at all? Has that gotten bigger at all in the recent days?
It's starting to pan out, even down south of downward side.
Has anything appeared above the water south downriver of the bridge yet?
Just a little bit, not much.
You see sand though?
Yep.
Okay.
It's only like 10 feet diameter.
They've been dropping flows, and they will continue to drop flows as we get into the winter. But
you know where they're at now?
As of November 6th, they were at 28,800 CFS. That was as of November 6th. I didn't check what it was at today, but I'm guessing it's something below that. Right. You're going to see a sandbar forming out here where this green area is this winter. or in the next couple days, weeks. So not the best news in the world, but I'm glad we did the update to the bathymetric survey and gathered this data and got some information, good information. But talking about the way forward, you know, we still have a large amount of funding available to do a project. $3.36 million are available in grants. We have used some of that money in what we've done in the survey efforts and design efforts. But that's still a considerable amount of money. The only real feasible option going forward, I think, is to look at site number 2 again on the south side of the river. So what I would ask the commission is to contact, set up a meeting with a landowner that's on that side of the river. I believe it's Doug Price on the south side of the river, and just, you know, at least contact him about it, because there's no point in putting any more effort onto that plan if he's not okay with us developing something on his plan. So there has to be some kind of permanent easement or land acquisition that the city would have to go through, which was another hit on Site 2 versus Site 1. The city already owned the land for Site 1 development last year when we decided that.
Does the North Dakota State Highway Department have right of way?
They do have a right of way. Yep.
Is there a way to see if they will allow us?
So even on the early stages of Site 1 development, we had initially had the pump house on the right of way, and they didn't say we couldn't do that, but they did not like that idea. They even went as far as saying, well, in 20 or 30 years or 40 or 50 years when we build a new bridge, what if we put the bridge right there? You're going to have to remove your screen and your pipe and your pump house. So just to steer clear of them, if you look on the top of the screen, or top of the page, we have the proposed pump house. It's really small. You can see it though. It's just up from where that old boat ramp was. That's just off DOT's right away. So we would do the same thing on the other side. We would be outside of the right of way wherever we put the screen and pipe and pump house in. That would be what we would shoot for. But last year, it was only in the planning, area that we took Site 2 and Site 3. Site 3 was way upriver on the north side that we threw that one out right away. But, we would have to go through preliminary and final design on Site 2 from this point. So all I'm asking for right now is us to contact and set up a meeting with this landowner and update the cost estimate that we had, like I said, was even before preliminary stage that we had on Site 2. So we at least could come with the commission and say, hey, we got this information back from the landowner, and this is what we have for a cost estimate for Site 2.
How far can we draw water?
What do you mean?
Okay, you're saying you have to have a pump house on the south side.
Yes, because we'd have to send the water back across the river, either connect into the existing force main, water main that we have that goes up that feeds into the water plant.
Right, because right now you're sucking out of this pump house here.
That's correct. That fed into a wet well. Yeah.
How far can that go? You're just gravity feeding, right?
Yes. Well, if you want to make your wet wells, how far you can go.
But that's why I'm wondering, is there a way to go from this side here to that side there?
It's a really long,
right, that's what you guys talked about, but what I'm saying is not have a pump house down here, have the big wet well down here.
You'd have to put in a new wet well, and it has to be very, very deep to make it feed that far. Not saying you couldn't do it.
That's what I was
and your bore, the bore to make, so if you look on your page, we have the proposed river intake, which, like I said, is not really feasible at this point with the river the way it is. But that's where we had the intake, in that general area. That bore was already going to be very difficult and extreme for a few reasons. But it would have been a 12-inch pipe, and the layer land. Remember, you know how you have that high bluff, and you can only go into in at such an angle, you have to be way back by that baseball field or where that museum is sitting to make this bore happen. And if you were gonna go much deeper and go way out here, you would have to, you might have to be on the other side of the railroad tracks.
Well, that's why I was wondering if you came on the south side, have the deal here and bored that way, and pulled the pipe in and capped it, and not have a pump house, but have everything flow that way.
That's something that we can look into, and like I said, we only had, gotten to the planning stage of Site 2.
Yeah.
This is something that would have to be redesigned.
That's what I was wondering, if you had any contingencies on doing something like that.
We hadn't developed the plan on Site 2 into much detail. And that's something that we would have to look into. We would look at all options for it. But the point is, right here is where we have it sitting, it's definitely not an access to a channel, it's definitely not access to a low flow channel. So it would have to be something over on this side. So, the funding as it sits, I know that the State Water Commission is committed to their matching funds, the $2.34 million, to a project that would be started in 2019. FEMA has committed $1.02 million to projects that would bid in 2019. And they only have to do an environmental review, but right now I stopped them on that because of what we learned on where our project is. So I would just have to redirect them to something else. But like I say, where we sit is we'd have to talk to that landowner and update you guys with a cost estimate so you can decide if you want to go forward with that.
So what you're requesting is permission to do that, and then there's a cost, there's a fee, or it's going to cost $2,500
to update the cost estimate, at least on what we think it'll be for the construction services, the construction cost for the project, and to conduct that meeting with the landowner.
Right. Well, I think this is obviously the way where we have to go. I mean, obviously, it isn't going to happen on this side. At least we'll know where we're at then.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments?
Just so we keep our ideas open,
Well, absolutely.
you know,
That's the idea.
for if we would ever have to do a multiple, you know, if you're going this way, and if we had caps on here when you board it, or if it's even feasible.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for an intake in this area. We did look into a lot of other things, and I'm not sure how much I discussed this with you guys, but you know, we looked at wells. We looked at a collector well. The aquifer is much better on the south side. There's not much of anything on the city side, again, which is a big disadvantage for the city. You know, and you still would have to pipe it across. And the other thing with wells is that the city's water plant's not really set up. It's not a softening plant, and you most likely would have to change your treatment process, which would be a change and an upgrade to the water plant if you're going to start using groundwater. You know, that's one of the alternatives that we looked at and that we struck down because of its expense. Another one of the alternatives we looked at was the connection to the Red River Valley Water Supply project. But that was a huge capital cost and infrastructure to build a pipe water here. And the problem with that project too is that it's in the design phase, but it's not something that's guaranteed to happen. So that was also struck.
Any other questions? So we need a motion to amendment number 1, task order number 12, which asks them to contact the landowner and you know, do a Site 2 cost estimate for a $2,500 fee. So we'll need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion. Proceed.
Okay. Is there a second? Any other discussion on this? And obviously, this will be brought back to us, you know,
Yeah, I've read through the other plans and stuff about wells and all that, and yeah, there's not a real good option. That's why I was wondering, like I said, have a big collector well on the north side that a person can drain multiple spots into. Because I'm afraid that river's going to change if they ever let it get too high again.
River always changes.
Exactly. So we need to plan for that.
And the good thing about this, and one of the main objectives was was have a redundant supply. And, you know, even in this year, as challenging as it was, the city was able to luckily keep the plant supplied with the screen that we have on the north side. And now, you know, if this project was to be built, you know, now you're going to have 2 screens. You know.
Because that's why I was wondering, you got this pipe already that we've had really good luck since the 70s, if I read it right.
Something like that.
If that goes into a collector well and we come from over here and bore into the collector well, but make the collector well deep, it's not going to be cheap, but we'd have more access to different spots.
Yeah.
And still use our same pump on that side.
And we would have to, like I said, if we can go forward with this and it's a step in the right direction and all things are go, then we'll look at all those options.
Right, because you're saying this is, what's the size of the river in depth?
It's 30 feet in some points.
So 30 feet, so...
But it's most likely not going to stay 30 feet deep. I
No.
mean,
But what I'm
see
saying
this line.
is, if you're 30 feet here, and right now, how deep is this side?
7 to 8 feet.
Right. But if you could make water flow and go deep enough to a 100-foot wet well, we would keep our volume where they could pump out of, it would settle out. But is that even feasible?
It's most likely not going to be feasible because your wet well would have to be so deep and that bore would be pretty difficult. But again, those are things we would all look at and explain before we would do anything. You know, we would go through the review process with you all.
And we have to bore, right?
I don't see there being any other way.
No matter how we do it, we're going to have to bore, right?
Absolutely.
You know, if we're going to put a well pump here, which is fine to bring water this way, we're going to have to do that bore no matter what.
Correct.
Right?
Even if you hang a return line, pressurized return line off the bridge, which I don't know if you want to do that, you still got to bore your lines from the screen to the wet well. Yeah.
Maybe
there's no way the Corps would let you dig out into the river that far.
Right.
So
it's going to be a bore no matter what.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah, we've talked about boring enough here.
Not
really.
boring.
You know, unless you have something else other than the boring part, you know, we'll move on to the vote. It's like almost 9:30 already, so we need to get moving here. Sorry to cut you off, but, you know.
No.
Okay, any other comments on that for the vote? Beck, Cohen?
Yes.
Pitt?
Aye.
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes, okay. So, and I can go with you when we set up that meeting?
Okay.
That'd be fine.
Yep.
Because I know Doug pretty well, so.
Okay.
Might help.
Yep. So we'll look at trying to get that meeting set up early.
So do I need to sign this for you or what?
Yep. And Lisa wasn't in today to sign it, but I'll take it to her tomorrow first thing if she's out. Yep. You can sign out. I have another copy I can give you too, or I can actually email you if she's sent. The other thing I wanted to touch on briefly, because I know it's been a long evening already, but the RCS program, we did resolve the access issues that we had. Everything's good there. I did talk to Adam about the potential of getting the RCS program on a mobile device, whether it's one of the city's iPads, an iPad, or if you put it on his phone. Just have a program on a mobile system. Because there's a lot of value in that, I think, and Adam thought there would be value in that. Because I think that Turk and Adam know where a lot of the things are in town, but it might not always be Turk and Adam that are around, or they might take vacation or whatever. So if we have a city employee that's new that needs to find something, that might be a good asset to have. So,
Plus, sometimes you forget, so. that's what we're-
and this is something we did for the city of Partial. We put the GIS program on their mobile devices, so they have it. So I think that Jasper knows a lot more about it because he did this for the city of Partial. But there wouldn't be any harm in at least doing a demo for Adam or all the commission or some of you, or to just show you what we can do on that. So I did talk to Adam about doing that, and it'd be whenever Jasper probably is around or if Jasper could show me and I could show him. So
And you have a cost estimate at that time?
probably at that time, but
Okay.
I think for the demo, it's not an issue. We can just show you guys
Right.
to see what you think.
Right.
So.
And then do a cost estimate to update this information, because, right, you talked about that there's some of the water stuff that has not been updated in that.
Yep. So part of that would be making sure that we have GIS specialists that would look at what you guys have so far and all the projects that we have done in the last 6 years. So I think we've had projects since like 2012. We would make sure that all that stuff's on there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
What else did I have? That's all I had on my letter.
I already talked to you about those paving estimates.
Yep, and I can get on those. I'll find where we left off with it and.
Anybody have
see you guys.
anything for Eric?
How about the water treatment plants?
Yep. I think last time I talked, I was gonna have you guys talk to Dave. I've been unsuccessful in light fire, I guess, for lack of a better term. But I know where it sits. We have given all the information to Dave, and he needed to draft a letter on behalf of the city for whichever contractor was 2010, I think that project was. So.
I need to talk about something else. Well, yeah. Talk to him again. I know I've mentioned it to him before.
Yeah. And I did remember one other thing. Mike, you asked me about the frontage road for Highway 83.
Right.
I did talk to, or left a message for Elena, I forget her last name.
Goslin?
Probably, yeah. And she's called me and said, yep, I'll get back to you about it, because she had to ask somebody some questions. She's the contact person at the DOT for this, and that's the ND Street project, ND Street program from the DOT, and that's somewhere where we can apply for the grant and get funding to put a frontage road along a highway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I think we could do, but I just wanted to get more information from her. I think the deadline on that application is the end of the year, so end of December. And now she's not here anymore, but Tana brought up the street light, and that Safe Routes to School is another program, and that's Pam Wegner at the DOT, and I can talk to her about street lights.
All right. Okay.
So we'll get that done. But that's all I had, unless you guys have more questions for me. I'd invite you guys to check out those exhibits that are on the wall over there. People probably walk by them or are so used to seeing them, but that explains the sites. If you guys have forgotten kind of why we went down the path we did, they're pretty good, simple things to read and get a good summary on. So, thanks.
Yeah. Rainey, what do you have?
Nothing.
Brian?
Nothing, Sanders still in here. Ron, you called the other day, he says, no, not here yet.
Okay.
To answer a question from the previous meeting, Mike, it's a 1-year warranty on Sanders.
Okay.
He's gonna give me an ETA once he knows when it'll be here.
Okay. Bills? Everybody have a chance to review the bills?
Motion to approve the bills.
Second.
Discussion on the bills? Come?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Next meeting, December 10th.
You better be here.
Adjourned.
December 10th.
Is this meeting going to be done by the 10th?
It wasn't that bad.
I think you want those back?
So, you let me know when. Would be good to meet with you.
Either Todd or Jasper will be with us too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll go meet with them.
Yeah, I'll pick a couple different days. 'cause I've got things.
I think mine off.
Okay,
I think I got mine off.
I did one.
Wouldn't hurt to check.
Yeah, Mike, those posters back there, I forgot about them, and I went out and I'm
Yep.
like, man, they're perfect. I